listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Domashevitz.
Coming in from the Shake Shack. Just put in my order. Gonna go hit some dingers and eat some burgers.
Danny Burgers?
Danny Burgers.
More on that later. That's Daniel Hargrove. I'm Justin Domashevitz. Andrew Gross, our producer, back here with us today. Andrew, we're so glad you're here.
Yes, we are. We are so glad you're here. We did it last time without you.
Yeah.
Full honesty here, I did not listen to that yet.
Well,
I've been busy.
Understandable.
It was the best show we had done in at least a week. So, anyway, thank you if you did listen or watch last week's episode. I'm sorry that there was a dip in quality without Andrew being there, and also that Daniel and I spent a lot more time talking about sharks and movies than we did about sports.
Yeah.
But again, we appreciate you listening, and we're going to do better today, probably.
Probably, maybe. I got some feedback from that, by the way, because my wife was like, "Hey,
what you want to do is
it's
you
fine."
want to move the microphones further away from your monitor.
Oh, is that what we want to do?
When you get feedback.
Oh.
What's a monitor?
Yeah. Gosh dang it, Andrew.
Like computer monitor or
Or like a palm monitor?
Or like a hall monitor?
Palm monitor. Yeah. Or baby monitor. Let's get it going with a 2-minute drill.
Let's go, hurry up! Gotta hurry. Hey, 2-minute situation, 44 seconds, hand the ball around. Gonna do it right. 3 jet Buckeye, don't worry.
The 2-minute drill starts now.
It's me. The top-seeded U.S. women's soccer team was eliminated. What?
You didn't know this?
No, I missed this one.
Yeah.
From the World Cup by Sweden. After playing to a 0-0 tie, then losing 5-4 on PKs. This was in the opening knockout round and is the earliest exit in program history. Wow, Justin, are we witnessing the end of U.S. dominance in women's soccer?
We are witnessing the end of U.S. dominance in women's soccer as we know it, in the sense that other countries have started investing a lot into women's soccer, and the U.S. actually got a little bit of a leg up with Title IX, and they were just ahead of the game. And there's still going to be really good U.S. women's soccer teams. I still think this U.S. women's soccer team was good. They underachieved in pool play, and because they came out of their pool second instead of first, they ended up playing the 3rd overall ranked team in Sweden. And yeah, it was a tough game against a really good team, and they lost. I think the U.S. women's soccer program is still going to be fine, but we're not going to see them winning World Cups over and over again and dominating the sport like we have in the past. You didn't expect me to have such a serious answer to that, did you?
I was impressed by your knowledge of the situation.
Seattle Seahawks receiver Dee Eskridge has been suspended 6 games after an arrest in February. Daniel, how significantly will his absence affect the Hawks on the field?
First of all, how did this stay quiet? How did nobody know about this arrest? Did any of you know about this arrest?
I don't remember.
I don't remember
in this
either.
current age, that's impressive.
NFL player got
None of us
arrested.
were really paying attention to the Seahawks at the end of last season.
I know.
I remember that part. Like,
You said nobody was paying
no, I
attention?
said none of us. Like, none of us were paying a ton of attention to him.
I'm pretty sure I would have known about that.
In February, with March Madness right around the corner, I was not paying any attention to football.
Right. His absence will not affect them because we still don't know what he can do when he really is healthy. Like, he hasn't been healthy, and when he has been, he's never gotten into a flow. So we won't know what his absence does until he possibly comes back and then adds something. But as for now, it's just going to be normal because we don't know. Mariners catcher Tom Murphy has crazy eyes, and he's hitting .297 with 8 taters and 12 doubles in just 44 games so far this season. Justin, did you see that coming?
Yeah, I did. Tom Murphy's awesome. I knew exactly that this was going to happen, and I knew that Tom Murphy and Cal Raleigh would be consistently in the lineup together.
Right? Just how they planned it.
The Los Angeles Angels carried a 5-game losing streak into today's matchup with the M's. The Halos are 9.5 games out in the division and 6 out of the wild card. Daniel, did the loser Angels make a mistake by not trading Shohei Ohtani?
They absolutely did. The Halos...
Sorry.
The Halos needed to trade their Master Chief. Andrew, you missed it at the wiffle ball tournament, but... puns and rhyming were just flying everywhere when Justin and I were on the mic.
That
and,
sounds terrible.
So Halo,
Also, a lot of little-known facts about
Yes.
the athletes,
tons.
which is probably the most fun thing for me.
Justin was really good at it, and I wasn't, but I tried, and ended up having a couple in there. My batting average was more like 100, and Justin's batting average was like 900. So together we batted 1,000.
Little-known fact about Daniel Hargrove. His new nickname is Danny Burgers.
That's not quite so little known.
It's more widely known now. It's all over social media.
It's all over the people who were at the wiffle ball tournament and played against us after our second game.
It is funny how that happened because basically Daniel was hitting taters. I don't know if you know this, but Daniel was hitting dingers.
Andrew, my first swing was a home run.
And
Nice.
It felt good.
our friend Ryan was there. And
Burnett.
Ryan Burnett walked up to me and he was like, I want to just start shouting Danny Burgers. And I was like, what's Danny Burgers? And he shows me a video. It's a Daniel Vogelback reference.
Yes.
So there's like an internet video meme or whatever you call it when a thing becomes a trend online where people make videos and they call him Danny Burgers. So every time Daniel
Just put
hit,
his order in at the Shake Shack.
we just started
Coming up to the plate. It's Danny Burgers.
Is he playing for the Mets now?
Yes.
I gathered that from your
So I started shouting out Danny Burgers. Ryan's a quiet guy, so he doesn't really shout.
Yeah.
So I started shouting out Danny Burgers every time Daniel hit. Then he was hitting home runs, and then the rest of our team started shouting out Danny Burgers every time he hit a dinger. It was pretty fun.
It
That's
was
awesome.
It was a good time.
If you want to know what the wiffle ball tournament was like, go check out our Facebook page. I put up a few posts about our team. We finished in third, and we'll talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But we had so much fun just celebrating with this group of guys we played with. Well, you played with. I stood there.
Yeah, it was awesome. We'll get more into it.
I think we all agree that Daniel's MLB comp has always been Daniel Vogelbach.
Yeah,
Easy.
good point. Yeah.
Easy. Getting into the Shohei thing.
Yeah.
I understand why they did what they did, but baseball-wise, it was dumb. And it just proves why the Angels suck and will always suck.
Do you think that the fact that we're looking at it as dumb, is that a playing the result thing? Because, and I'm asking genuinely because part of the reason why people felt like they made a push at the trade deadline and added was because they actually were playing really well over the stretch of a couple weeks and were rising in the standings. And then it seemed like as soon as they made the trades before the deadline, they started sucking, like almost immediately.
Yeah.
So is it now, are we looking at it going, well, you should have known that you actually suck? Or baseball-wise, even where they were when they were starting to surge, you know, would you look at it and say they should have been sellers?
It's tough. The only way it would have been smart is had they made enough of a playoff push because of it that Shohei was like, oh, I want to stay here. Mm-hmm. That's the only way it made sense. Now, they made all these trades, and they weren't very good ones.
Yeah.
Lucas Giolito is not having a good year. So he's a big name who's not actually doing that well. And they sold
He's also
more,
a big name I've never heard of.
and they, oh my gosh, and they sold more of their future for it. And they made all these trades that were name value, but not talent value. And so it was like, oh, look at all this stuff we're doing. And everybody else is going, you are mortgaging your future to try and tell Shohei that you want him to stay. And yet none of these moves are actually going to work out that well. That's how it felt from the outside looking in. Mm-hmm. Now, had it worked, and who knows, maybe they go on like a 10-game winning streak and they play their way right back into it. Then, again, it's not just about making a deep playoff run. They have to make a deep playoff run and Shohei has to go, I'm coming back, for this to be a smart move. So, yeah, does it seem like it's something that, now that we've seen the results, we say, you're stupid? Mm-hmm. Yes. But the smart play, the higher percentage play is to go, Shohei hasn't seemed that excited about coming back. I mean, he's waiting till he's a free agent for a reason, right?
Yeah.
If he was happy, he would have signed an extension already.
Yeah.
So the smart play is to go, hey, we're losing this guy. Yes, that sucks because he's the best player in the world of all time ever. But we could trade him and get a king's ransom back to set us up for the future, and maybe we can find the next Mike Trout to sit on our team and never win anything.
I like it when you say things like that.
But they didn't. They decided to go all in. So now they're going to lose Shohei next year and have a terrible team and have a terrible farm system. So for that small percentage chance that they win enough to keep Shohei, they mortgaged their near future and their long-term future. And with the Mariners seemingly just hammering the nail in the coffin this week, hopefully they get the sweep today, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
Shohei is looking across the field and going, I like Seattle. I've lived there the past 2 off seasons. Which also, how does that never get found out? What's the news media in Seattle doing? D. Eskridge gets arrested. Nobody knows. And Shohei Ohtani's been living in Seattle for 2 years, and we don't know.
The news media, the sports news media in Seattle is 85% team propaganda.
Yes.
Like, it's people who, it's either organizations who work for the teams or have affiliations with the teams and allow the management for the teams to come on. And this big part of the reason why I completely stopped listening to it.
The only reason why I still do is because who's going to talk about the Mariners on a daily basis? Who else? Where else can I get that?
I just don't.
I can't.
Yeah, I don't.
And
I just ask you when I have a question.
That's what I care about. So that's
So
the only
actually,
reason.
I need you to keep listening because then I will. Not, if you stop listening and Andrew stopped listening, then I wouldn't have anybody to ask if I had a question.
Exactly.
No, I can ask Sean. Actually, you guys can do whatever you want.
Speaking of Sean, I asked Sean today about what he thought about. Are we going to get into the Mariners later?
Yes.
Okay, I'll save that for later.
After Stump Daniel.
Ooh.
I thought it was interesting what you said about the Women's World Cup.
Okay.
About how Title IX was kind of like the forerunner, so they had a leg up on everybody else. I think that's very interesting. So now other countries are, for lack of a better term or wording, letting their women play sports.
Well, and for several, like
and
a lot of it
turns out
yeah.
other countries have athletic women too.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Well, a lot of other nations have realized, well, there's not as much money in the women's soccer, but there's still a lot of money in it,
Yeah.
and there's prestige involved in it, and the sport as a whole of women's soccer has been growing.
Yep.
So other countries have looked at it and gone, well, we're better at the U.S. than the U.S. at soccer. Why couldn't we do it on the women's side just like we do it on the men's side? So
Exactly.
for several years now, a lot of other countries, and you've been seeing this in Europe a lot, have been investing a lot more into programs for training for women in soccer.
Yeah.
And we are now starting to see it pay off. And again, I'm not trying to say U.S. women's soccer is going to stink now. I'm saying the playing field is leveled.
Absolutely.
So them going in as a prohibitive favorite, they've won 2 FIFA World Cups in a row.
Yeah.
And they came in as the 1 seed again. And I think we're just starting to see it all kind of level off where it's going to be more even.
Absolutely. I agree. And you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of what baseball is turning into. Mm-hmm. Because, of course, baseball had the upper hand.
U.S. had the upper hand.
Yeah. Before we made the sport.
Yeah.
But now, the Dominicans, we're better at baseball than the Americans. And they are. Most of our league is filled up with foreign players.
Japan.
I mean,
Won the
honestly,
world.
the NBA is also being taken over by
Exactly.
by foreign players.
Exactly. And I still think that our youth sports culture is the reason for all of it.
But other countries look at football and they're like, that's a fun thing to watch, but I don't want to get my brains beaten in. So U.S. still owns the monopoly on American football.
Yeah, they just play rugby for their
Also, the
brains beating.
equipment is a big part of
Oh,
football
interesting.
stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's true. The equipment is so much more expensive than, I mean, when you think about it, any other sport.
Well,
right?
yeah, because of just the amount
Hockey.
of padding you have to. Oh,
Yeah.
hockey, yeah.
Hockey.
Only rich people play hockey too.
Interesting to know.
I mean, that's not strictly speaking true, but
You know-
outside of the parts of the world where you can play outside in your park naturally,
At the pond, yeah.
outside of those areas of the world, you have to go to a rink in
Right.
a big city
That's a good
to
point.
be able to play.
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
It's also really makes me happy that while these other countries are doing that to us in different sports, we continue to beat Canada at hockey.
I didn't know that, but I'm happy about it too.
I mean, we hire all their players to do it, but our teams win the Stanley Cup.
Well, this is where the money is. Take that, socialists.
Well-known socialist Canada. That's why their
Basically.
flag's red.
Yeah.
Oh, I never thought of that before.
So how can we move on? Can we move on to what is
What are we moving on to?
my favorite part of the show?
Man.
Serving questions up on a silver platter where the points are made up and the rules don't matter. Time for Stump Daniel.
I liked your harmonies that you were adding in there. I always tell my wife is a brilliant singer and
Yes.
musician.
Thank you to her for, again, providing live music at our
That was
cornhole
awesome.
tournament.
Yeah. I always tell her that harmony is easy. It's just two people singing two different notes at the same time. It doesn't matter what the notes are or what they sound like
Yeah.
together. That's harmony.
Well, I mean, there's what, 4 different chords in each, or 4 different notes in each chord?
I have
so you
no
just gotta
idea.
hit one of them or something like
Yes,
that?
that
I don't
sounds
know.
right to me.
Or 5. There might even be more than that. I don't know. I
If
feel
it
like
sounds
Andrew should know
dissonant,
that.
It's on purpose.
Yes! Boom. So, yeah, you're right. That was
Thank
a
you.
dissonant harmony.
I thought you were dissonanting me.
Is
Dis-
Angel
dissing?
listening?
Is dissonant short for is dis short for dissonant? Like if you diss somebody,
Pretty
are you
sure it's-
dissonanting them?
I'm pretty sure it's short for disrespect.
Oh,
Yeah, I think that's
okay.
what it is.
Okay.
You're disrespecting them, which we'll get back to that. We had a fun time at the wiffle ball tournament. I'm gonna keep bringing it up.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it at
Thankfully,
length later.
Thankfully, only one player that we played against the whole day thought we were dissing them by how we celebrated. Everybody else just were like, "Look at those goofy morons."
Yeah, and you guys were
We were,
a bunch of goofy morons,
and we had a blast.
except Cam, because he's bigger than me.
That's true.
and could thump me.
That's true. Everybody's home run celebrations were getting ludicrous.
Actually-
and every time Cam just, everybody else like him
Yeah.
didn't run the bases. But Cam every time ran the bases, completely stone-faced, came in, high fives.
For people who don't know Cam is about 6'3", 6'4", and 240 pounds
He's a large
of
human.
solid muscle.
Yep.
And he played on our wiffle ball team and predictably hit some really far taters.
Ginormous
I actually
noobs.
have a video, Daniel, and I was thinking about putting them together. One of your best Euro step celebrations,
Okay.
immediately followed by Camden rounding third and getting high fives after a home run. They're very different.
Very different.
Stark contrast.
Really quickly,
Did
before Step
anybody
Daniel.
celebrate by sliding into home?
No,
Oh,
but
no.
but Skylar Bovey did this. He would round the bases and then do this massive stomp
Yeah.
on home every time and turn his hat backwards and then
Yeah.
stomp on the plate.
It was
that
really
was a good
fun.
one.
It was really fun.
Let's see. Oh, Joel DeBlanco their whole team would do like shoulder chest bumps, and people like normal sized humans doing shoulder chest bumps with Joel DeBlanco is hilarious to watch.
It was the one time when we were on the mics calling the games that I completely lost my composure.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put the names out there.
Yes, we will.
Getting it to the end of the celebration, and our buddy John Wilson.
Yeah, who's about what 5'7"?
Maybe. And, he's a
Normal-looking
normal
dude.
looking dude.
Yep.
And Joel DeBlanco, for those of you who don't know, former collegiate athlete.
Former NFL player.
Played with the Seahawks in the preseason.
There we go.
And he's huge and yoked in a way
Yep.
that he's out of place
Yes.
in most scenarios because he's a
Linebacker.
massive.
He's an interior linebacker.
Like,
Yes.
there's people in good shape.
A professional level
But
interior
okay,
linebacker.
but Joel DeBlanco as a professional level interior linebacker is yoked. Like
Yes.
I'm saying, like, he could be in a group of other yoked guys and look yoked.
Yep.
He makes yoked people look not yoked.
Exactly. So watching Joel, who also is about would you say he's about 6'4"?
6'4", yeah.
He's tall, and John's shorter.
Yeah.
And watching the two of them go up and do the shoulder bump, and John, it looked like, you know how Weebles wobble but they don't fall down? He he did a little stanky leg kind of thing, almost fell over and then caught himself with his hand. And I had a mic in my hand, and Daniel and I were commentating on the game,
Yes.
and I completely lost it.
He was
to the
crying.
point that I couldn't speak, and I was laughing so hard I was crying, having watched it, and I wish so badly that I had it on
It
video.
was so funny. Oh my god.
Anyway, Stump Daniel time.
Yes.
Daniel, I think you got a pretty good shot at this one.
Okay. I like having a good shot.
I'm sticking with baseball because it's kind of the big season that's going on right now.
It's kind of.
Kind of.
It's not like it's the only season that's going on right now besides women losing at soccer.
Well, that one's over now, too.
Gosh, we
For the
had
US.
one thing, women's soccer. We dominated at that. That was it. Well, we used to have basketball, but that was taken from us too. I feel like more countries are. Are we there yet?
Well, in national basketball, the
We still
U.S.
win.
is still dominant.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But as
still
far
got
as
that.
the NBA, many of the best players in the NBA come from other countries.
That's true. But it's more like they need all of Europe.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So if it was a Ryder Cup,
yeah.
if it was a Ryder Cup situation where it was Europe against the U.S., it might get a little bit closer.
I would even say it's possible that you could go best players in the U.S. versus best players from the rest of the world.
Okay.
And have a really good game.
Okay.
But you put Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic and Giannis Antetokounmpo on a team.
Ooh.
Just those three guys. You could almost go 3-on-3 with anybody.
Ooh.
It's pretty tough.
That's pretty tough.
Yeah.
Except for I feel like Giannis plays too much of a different style of game than those other two guys.
It's possible. I think Giannis could play with anyone.
Yeah, you're right. He just goes down some people.
Major League Baseball payrolls.
Oh no.
Daniel, do you know where the Mariners rank in payroll?
Not as high as I want them to be unless they pay Shohei $1 billion.
This isn't a question that gets you points, but just out of curiosity, where would you guess the Mariners rank in payroll?
I would guess they're at 15.
You're very close. They're 18
Oh! Wow.
with a payroll of $137 million.
That makes me upset.
Yeah.
George is getting upset.
So, Daniel, here is the game today. I'm going to ask you who you think the top 10 teams in Major League Baseball payroll are. Now, I'm not asking you to put them in order. The way this game will work, you're going to give me a list of 10 teams,
Okay.
and I'm going to tell you which ones are and are not on the list.
Okay.
And you're going to get points in order based on where they are on the list. So if you get the number 1 team in payroll, you get 1 point.
So I'm trying to list them.
Any order. You just want the top 10.
Okay.
And you get points based on where they are on the actual list. So you're going to give me 10 teams. Any order.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
So I just list 10 teams.
Yep. And then if you got the number 1 team, you get 1 point. If you got the number 2 team, you get 2 points, so on
Okay.
and so forth.
Gotcha.
So your max amount of points from that, if I did my math right, and that's a big if,
Big if.
is 55 points.
But you are better at math than Benny Dubs.
I am. But
Ben
we're-
DeBlanco, not great at math.
well, he tried to steal 3 runs from us in a
Not
game.
tried to. Did steal 3 runs from us. in a game.
And even though I thoroughly explained it to him multiple times, and then, in fact, I had to apologize to him later to let him know, I wasn't mad at you. You were just wrong, and I was trying to tell you.
Yes.
And he was like, hey, man, no problem.
Yeah.
It was the coolest thing
Yeah.
ever because, we had a conversation.
Yeah.
We disagreed. He
Absolutely.
said, I don't care. I'm in charge.
Yep.
And then I was like, okay.
Yeah.
We moved on. We won the game anyway. And
Yep.
then after it was over, we made up. It was fine.
Exactly. Ben's an awesome dude.
He really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Not a mathlete, though.
So, by the maths,
Okay.
55 points. We're going to set a high standard here because I think you're going to do really well.
Okay.
To get the Beaver Zone, you need 53.
Coveted beaver zone.
for the Beaver Zone for Danny Burgers.
Coug Zone is anything between 47 and 52.
Andrew, that's my favorite nickname I've ever had, by the way.
I love it.
It's
It's going into softball.
I'm
too.
so excited about it. I want to start bringing burgers to softball games just because.
To
of it.
share?
Yes.
No, to eat.
But also to eat.
Celebration.
Mainly.
Wait,
To
you
eat.
hit a home run, you stomp on home plate, and I meet you there with the burger.
Yes.
We're doing that.
Yes.
Yeah. Husky Zone is 41 to 46. You get 36 to 40, and it's a duck zone. And we have, because this is another baseball edition, the lowest zone possible. Anything below 35 is the Yankee zone.
Sorry.
Wait, what are the zones again?
Beaver 53 plus, Coug 47 to 52, Husky 41 to 46, Duck 36 to 40,
It's a cross-conference zone.
and it's cross sport too because Yankee.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Cross
cross
level.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the colleges all have. multiple
Enough
sports.
stalling.
Sorry. Okay.
Daniel, what are the 10 best?
Dodgers.
Okay, they are on the list.
Yankees.
They are on the list.
Red Sox.
Not on the list.
What?
Not in the top 10 in payroll.
What?
Not in the top 10 in payroll.
Mets.
The Mets are on the list.
I hate the Red Sox less all of a sudden. Padres.
The Padres are on the list.
Rangers.
The Rangers are on the list. You got 4 more guesses.
Is this current or at the start of the season?
Start of the season.
Okay.
Oh, not including trades then, or not taking recent trades into account.
Correct.
Angels.
The Angels are on the list.
How many have I said so far?
7.
Cubbies.
The Cubs are not on the list.
So I got 2 misses.
2 misses and 6 correct.
Can you give me all who I've said already?
You have picked Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, Padres, Rangers, Angels were all on the list. And then Red Sox and Cubs not on the list.
Okay. So I've got what do I have? 2 more guesses?
2 more.
2 more? Okay. Give me a second to process. The Rays definitely not. The A's definitely not. The Mariners you already said were not.
Mariners 18. I think
Yeah.
think you were out of here, Andrew, when I said that.
I don't feel like they would be.
Wow, my handwriting is
The
really
Royals are not.
bad. I'm looking at the list that I just wrote of the teams you guessed, and I can
Oh,
barely read it.
duh. The Phillies.
The Phillies are on the list. You got 1 more.
Gosh, that was dumb.
There's a big point one still on the board here. The 10th payroll, which is worth 10 points you haven't gotten.
Okay, so the AL East is the Yankees, Red Sox, Rays,
Orioles.
Orioles,
Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays could be. Okay, so the AL West is the Ooh. Is it the Astros?
Trash shows.
The Astros. Trashtros. Mashed potatoes. The Central is the White Sox.
The Guardians.
Twins,
The
Guardians.
Twins. The Royals.
And the
There is a 5th team in there.
Royals. Do we say the Royals?
Yeah. Royals, White Sox, Guardians,
Twins.
Twins.
What's wrong with us?
I can't think of who the last team is.
Andrew, who's the other AL Central team? White Sox? Twins.
Well, they all stink.
Royals. They do all stink. I think they would all be in. No, wait, the A's. Besides the A's, they would all be in last place. Tigers. Yeah, it's definitely not the Tigers.
I feel dumb for forgetting that.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the Astros.
The Astros are on the list. Daniel, you got 8 out of 10 right. Let me do some quick maths here to figure out how many points you got. Let's see. 5 for the Dodgers because they are 5th on the list.
Really? I would have. Okay, so
2 for the Yankees because they are 2nd on the
I
list.
thought the Dodgers were gonna be like 1 or 2.
4 for the Phillies. They are 4th on the list. The
Yeah.
Mets have the number 1 payroll in the league, and they are
Wow.
a dumpster fire.
The Mets are so bad.
The Padres have the 3rd biggest payroll.
You know, it only makes me sad because Danny Burgers plays for the Mets.
The Rangers have the 9th
It
highest
only
payroll.
makes me sad because it makes Yankees fans happy.
That's a good point.
The Angels have the 6th highest payroll, and the Astros have the 10th.
Wait, so 3 of the top 10 are all in the AL West?
Oh, yeah. We're going to, well,
Woof!
are the Phillies in the AL West?
No, the
No,
Phillies are...
NL.
What?
Wait, what did you say? What did you
The
say?
Angels, Rangers, and...
Oh, Angels, Rangers, and Astros.
Rangos.
Angels, Rangers, and
Astros.
Ostros.
Ostros, and apples and bononos.
Yeah. Let me do some calculations here. 5 plus 2.
Andrew, do you want to hear a random story about the wiffle ball tournament?
Yes.
Okay, while Justin is doing math.
40!
Oh, wait, I only got 40 points?
You got 40 points because you missed kind of a big one.
Uh-oh.
Number 8 is the Braves.
Hmm.
And the other big point one that you missed is number 7, the Blue Jays.
So I got more points for how
Low they are.
low they were.
Because
So-
it's harder to get the lower ones and easier
So
to
I
get the
should
higher
have guessed Toronto instead of the Astros.
I did explain all of
You,
this at the
you
beginning.
did, but...
Daniel wasn't paying attention.
So,
So I'm in the Husky zone? I'm in the Duck zone?
but
I'm in the Duck zone?
what I didn't tell you, Daniel, is there's bonus points.
Oh, golly.
I'm going to run through the 10 teams, and if you get them, you get 5 bonus points, which will get you to 45, and you will be in the Husky zone, but you're out of the Duck
I'm
zone.
out of the Duck zone.
Yeah.
Although
So-
they're both in the Big Ten zone.
You have to tell me,
Punks.
of these 10 teams,
I mean, it totally makes sense that they did it, but I hate them for it.
how many of them currently lead their division? I'm going to read them off to you, and you can go yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and
Okay.
figure it out.
All right.
Mets,
No.
Yankees,
No.
Padres,
No.
Phillies,
NL East. Yes.
Okay, you're at 1 yes. Dodgers,
Wait,
The AL West is really good.
what was the question?
How many
no,
of
he's
these?
not getting an answer. I'm putting up a number of how many he thinks are yes.
Yes,
Oh,
he hasn't
okay.
told me if I'm
Okay.
correct or not yet.
Okay.
But I'm assuming that by that I got that one wrong.
Well,
Dang it! The Dodgers.
Okay, you're at 2 yeses.
So the Dodgers are in a division with the Padres.
The Marlins,
The Dodgers are not with the Marlins.
they're not in the...
The Dodgers are in the AL or the NL
NL
West. The Marlins
Oh.
are in Florida.
Well, in my mind,
In
Los
a-
Angeles and Miami are like the same thing. Politically,
Wait a second.
geographically, they're exactly the same.
Ecumenically, spiritually, grammatically. Okay,
The
so
Jaguars,
Dodgers, Giants,
Denver
Dodgers.
Nuggets.
Stop it. Dodgers, Giants, Padres, Diamondbacks. Wow, people are going to be upset with me. Dodgers, Padres, Giants,
do you want help?
Diamondbacks.
Or is he
Yeah,
allowed
who's
to
the
have
other
it?
team? Who's the other team?
Rockies.
Rockies.
Oh, the Rockies.
Okay. Yes, the Dodgers are in first place.
Okay, you're at 2. Angels,
No.
Blue Jays,
No.
Braves,
Yes.
Rangers.
Wait a second. Are the Braves in the same division as the Phillies?
I think the Braves are in
Maybe
the Central. Aren't the
I
Braves
might
in the
be-
Central? Aren't
I
the
might be
Braves-
hedging my bet with that one. That's okay. What's the next one?
Rangers.
Yes.
Okay, you're at 4.
Yeah.
Astros.
No.
Would you like to change your answer from 4 to a different thing?
I'm gonna hedge my bet. Oh wait, am I just getting points on the total
You
number?
just total number. That's all it was. You didn't have to
Oh,
get
so
the actual
hedging my
team
bet with the Braves and the Phillies isn't a good thing.
shot. You can just say 3 if you think it's 3. You can say 4 if you think it's 4.
I'm gonna go 3.
3 is correct.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The Phillies, in fact, are not leading their division.
Because they're in the same division as the Braves.
Yes. Who you had forgotten to mention in this.
Daniel, you have successfully reached the Husky zone.
Yes!
Congratulations.
I've never been so happy to be a dog in multiple scenarios. That's another thing from the wiffle ball tournament. I had Montesano teenagers asking me why everybody hates Montesano and if we hated Montesano that much when I was in high school.
And?
Oh, it was a long discussion. I can't just and it while there's theme music
It's
going
either
on.
a yes or no question. Did you hate Montesano when you were in high school?
Not really.
Okay, there we go.
I mean, I think the football team did.
Oh, okay.
But then our senior year, they weren't in our league, and we literally didn't play them our senior year. So we didn't really hate them that much. We played them our junior year, and I think we lost it was a stupid close game.
There's a simple answer to that question, really.
What?
They hate us because they ain't us. To close out Stump Daniel, I would like to point
I would
out
like to try and dispute that. but
that as I was looking at baseball payrolls,
we hate them because everybody joins them. Wait, what?
I
No.
wasn't surprised to find the 28th and 29th highest payrolls. Literally, the A's are the lowest, and they're a dumpster fire.
So they're 30th.
28 and 29
The Rays.
are the 2 best teams in the undisputed best division in baseball.
Jeez.
The Rays are 28 at 73 million, and the Orioles are 29 at 61 million. They have the best record outside of the Braves in all of the majors.
That's insane.
In the best division in the
That's
majors,
insane.
where the Yankees are no longer in. The Yankees, by the way, were in sole possession of last place in the AL East for the first time since like 1990,
Jeez.
a couple weeks ago. And now the Red Sox are in last place, but they're still like 3 or 4 games over 500.
It's
The AL
insane.
East is insane.
It's nuts. The crazy thing about that is the Rays always going to have a low payroll.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me if they traded a couple of their best players after the season.
The
Because
Orioles
that's just
payroll is
what
going to
they
go
do.
up.
But the Orioles, so those are for 2 different reasons. The
Yeah.
Rays will always be stupid cheap, and yet somehow their entire program system, whatever, is just better than everybody's.
Yeah.
And so it's like they're Billy Bean. So like before everybody else figured out Moneyball, everybody was like, "Oh, how are they overperforming? That's never going to happen again because everybody else does it." But for some reason, the Rays have something figured out that nobody else does.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but they do. The Orioles, it's because they're at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
They will spend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been tearing it down for a rebuild for the last few years,
Yep.
and now I think actually their young great players are a little ahead of schedule because they have some guys that are playing exceptionally well.
They're the Mariners, except for maybe a step behind, maybe at the same time, but they weren't expecting it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the guys on their team, I think is I don't remember the name, but is a clear favorite for Rookie of the Year, who's been really good.
Yeah.
And, you add that to Adley Rutschman, who's
Yep.
in his second year.
Yep.
And
And you got Santander, who's been
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, they've been awesome.
yeah. I might,
Which is weird,
to
'cause
see
it's
what
been a
happens
long
with the
time.
Mariners, because I grew up rooting for the Orioles. If
Yeah.
the Mariners start to tank and the Orioles are doing good, I'll just switch.
They have orange, and they're
Orange and black.
Their
Yeah.
hats are cool.
They're-
I like
yeah,
their
yeah.
hats.
I need to get some Oriole gear just to hedge my bets a little bit. I think I'm going to, in my older age, I think I might start following Justin's line of thinking
Mm-hmm.
a little bit just to increase my happiness.
Yeah.
Although
That's a
I
good plan.
do generally like the Dodgers because I have a little teddy bear from when I was a little kid that was a Dodger bear. So I always have a soft spot for the Dodgers. And that's nice because they win a lot. And I like Mookie Betts.
I used to have a Baltimore Orioles fielding helmet. You know how like John
Yeah,
Olerud always
yeah.
wore the fielding helmet that doesn't
Nice.
have ears, but
Yeah.
I had that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I don't know where any of it went. I used to have a bunch of Cal Ripken Jr. stuff too. I don't know where any of it is.
The only thing I don't like about Cal Ripken Jr. is the stupid Little League equivalent. Hoquiam, get your crap together. Get out of Cal Ripken and go to Little League like everybody else in the area so we can all play together and be friends.
Andrew, would you agree that Hoquiam Cal Ripken baseball is the new Mariano Rivera on this show? Like every
No.
episode, we have to try to find a way to sideswipe Cal Ripken Jr. baseball and Hoquiam.
Seriously.
In that way, sure, but
Yeah.
I don't think we should replace Mariano Rivera, and I don't think anyone is overhyping Cal Ripken
Good point.
baseball.
I was saying like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
true. I was saying in direct relation to its relationship to our show.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Like we-
Mariano Rivera, in case people don't know, most overrated athlete in any sport of all time.
As soon as I possibly can, I'm going to start like trying to create that groundswell to shift from Cal Ripken to Little League. Because, full disclosure, I want my kid to play in Hoquiam. And full disclosure, it better not be in Cal Ripken because it's dumb and it's isolated from the rest of the county. And also, full disclosure, Hoquiam and Aberdeen shouldn't have separate leagues when they both have freaking 2 teams in their leagues. That is not a league. That is 2 teams. So they should combine.
Is that true that they only have
Aberdeen had 2 Little League teams this year.
like majors? Like
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I think Hoquiam was probably the same.
That's unfortunate.
It's sad. And the fact that they were in different organizations so they couldn't actually intermingle is really dumb.
That's one thing that when my kids played in majors, which is the 12-year-old. Sorry, my voice is cracking because I screamed a lot yesterday at the wiffle ball tournament. The 12-year-old level of Little League, we had games with Elma and Aberdeen. So all the Little Leagues play against each other, which helps really fill out the schedule and helps you play different teams instead of playing the same 3 teams over and over again.
Absolutely. And that is huge, and yet Hoquiam continues to isolate themselves. And it's not right.
Daniel,
It's dumb.
the Mariners are pretty good. I
They
kind
are
of
pretty
like
good.
them.
I like them too. I kind of, you know what? What is it? 4 straight? 5 straight, Andrew? How many games have? And what's
Well,
the
they
score,
won-
Johanna?
It is 4 straight.
Bottom of 8.
What is it?
2-2, bottom of 8.
2-2, bottom of 8. And if we know anything about the Angels, they're about to gag on some marbles, and so we got a good shot in this one. Their closer, really good, except for when facing Cade Marlowe. Just throwing that out there. Who's up?
Renhefo.
Renhefo. Who's pitching for us? Topa. I like our chances. Sorry, nobody else cares, especially if they're listening to
Well,
this
by the
tomorrow.
time they listen to this game's
Hey,
gonna be
we're
over.
live as well. There
was
could
4
be. Is there
straight.
anybody listening to us live right now? Anybody live? Oh shoot!
What?
I have to do wall sits. I'm doing a daily wall sit challenge at work.
Do you hate yourself?
Yes,
Yes,
some
wall
people
sits are worse than we did a plank challenge, and I had to do a plank every
Why
day.
is your work trying to come up with things that only people who hate themselves do?
We're promoting fitness in this little.
There's
group.
lots of things you can do to promote
They
fitness.
had too much office morale.
No,
Too high of
We
morale.
must decrease morale.
we did put money on it though, so it's not.
Oh wait, how much money?
So
Is it who can do the longest plank?
Well, okay, so little sidetrack here. We'll get back into the Mariners in a
I'm
second.
much more interested in this.
So in the month of July, it was a 30-day challenge. Everybody put $10 into the pot.
Okay.
If only one person did it all 30 days, then he got a vast majority of the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So actually only one person made it because going into the last weekend, like there was 4 days left, but the last weekend of it, me, my buddy Zach, and Bonnie, we all forgot to do it over the weekend.
Oh.
So one person made
On
it
the
through.
home stretch?
On the home stretch. So if we all would have made it, we
no.
would have split the cash, right? But only one person made it, so he got the majority of it. Then at the end of it, we did a plank off. So whoever could do it the longest
Plank off.
won. Yeah, exactly. And then there was Ploff. There was 2 most improved awards. So I actually got one of them because
So
my
the best thing to do would be tank the first plank at the beginning, but your pride wouldn't allow that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually improved in 2 facets, though, because
Okay.
not only did I go from 1 minute and 15 seconds on my first plank to during the plank off, I went for 4 minutes and 4 seconds. Yeah, big improvement. But also,
Somebody improved more than that?
Yes.
Okay.
And
They didn't know what a plank was to begin with.
Is it
And-
by
and-
percentage or by actual time?
it was an arbitrary judgment.
Okay.
It was, the number 1 was an arbitrary judgment.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, if you're going to put money into something and then you get money paid out at the end, there has to be black and white rules.
But
there's
also-
no arbitrary judgments.
But look, what if I had tanked the first one on purpose?
Did you?
No. But I didn't try as hard as I could.
You said what if you had a look in your eyes.
I didn't try as hard as I could.
Okay.
But mine
Mine would have been 4 seconds.
my time improved, and then Courtney, I did one at home over the weekend, and Courtney was like, "Oh, your form is terrible," and I was like, "Nuh-uh," and she took a picture of it, and I was like, "Oh, gross." So
Gross.
then my times went like literally all the way back down to where I started with good form.
Okay.
So I improved in 2 ways.
Okay. I'm really stuck on this whole thing, the arbitrary judgment thing. So it needs to be by percentage. It needed to have been like whatever your baseline plank is, but also they have to tell you, they're not
Justin.
telling you what you're doing a plank for.
Justin,
So you go into work on a Monday morning
And
and they're like, "Hey, everybody, we're doing planks
Doing
today.
planks, yeah.
Everybody can do a plank.
Do
We'll
as
see how
best
long
as
you can
can.
do it.
We'll
Do the
give you-
best you can."
We'll give you $5 if you win.
And a Hershey bar.
Yeah.
Oh wait, promoting
This
fitness.
this is also a group
Snickers.
separate of. For those of you who don't know, I work for a public district, so
Satisfied.
this is also not an official district thing. This is like an employee was like, "Hey, she sent out emails. This is all separate from the district."
It sounds
so
like
it's not
gambling. It sounds like gambling at work.
kind of, but it's not. This is just
Might
a
be-
side group.
Might be illegal.
Side group.
I'm
Side
creating a
group.
lot of trouble for you.
You
right
are a terrible person. So anyway, now we're doing wall sits.
now. Okay.
And I'm miserable at wall sits, and I need to do one today, or else
Did you
I'll
do a
lose.
baseline wall sit?
45 seconds.
That seems pretty good.
There, dude, it doesn't seem like it's very
Was
good
there
until
a
you
prize?
do it.
I want to go back to planks first.
I got a $10 gift certificate, by the way.
Was there a prize for whoever had the longest plank? So you said
Yeah.
majority of the money went to this person who did it all 30
Every
days.
30 days, yeah.
And then you had the most improved got one, and
Yeah.
then there was a prize also for the longest plank.
Yeah, a summer hire intern of ours, Ellie Bunker, did a plank for 5 minutes and like 6 seconds.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. But she's in college, and she weighs like 20 pounds. So I feel like she had
That's-
an advantage.
That's
But
very light.
but still, she killed it. She is apparently a former WF West like fast pitch player who was really, really good. Must have been a slap hitter. Unless she's just one of those sneaky power hitters that's like Jose Altuve size. Wow. I can see that with Ellie. Anyway,
I think
I can the thought that
I think your work plank competition was unfair. I would have thrown a fit.
yeah.
I would have thrown a fit.
You know what?
Justin,
First-
it's
the
like
first
Stump
fit-
Daniel.
the
The
f-
points are made up and the rules don't matter.
Yes,
That's a good point.
Also, can I also say that both of the most improved awards were the same gift? We both got $10 gift certificates.
The first
So I wasn't really upset that I was the second most improved.
the first fit I would have thrown
Okay.
would be when I went to work and somebody said, "Give me money and do a plank." I would have been like, "Here, I'm going to give you some money. Let me tell you where I'm going to shove it." And I'm not doing a plank.
Where would you have shoved it?
Where the sun don't shine.
Oh, where the sun don't shine. Or,
Under that tree over there where the sun don't shine.
Yes. All right, what were we talking about?
Who remembers?
I forget where we were going.
Do you want to? Do you have
Were we
more?
talking about Mariners?
we
Yeah,
were.
we were talking about the Mariners.
They're pretty good, and we kind of like them.
Who would win a plank
They
competition
have won
of the
4
Mariners?
in a row, Daniel.
4 in a row. Their month of
Currently tied
July
at the top
was
of the ninth.
Did they have the best or second best record in the month of July?
I have no idea.
It was really close. And then they proceeded to crush Boston, who were actually having like the best July. Gosh, what do you think about their trades? Trade. I mean, it was really only one trade. There was multiple, but come on, really, there's only one. I was really upset that they didn't make a bigger move, whether that was to buy or sell.
I think that was where I was as well.
Yeah, I wanted the Seawald deal and a bigger move, either buying or selling. Just show me what you're doing.
I would say, though, had I not talked to you about it beforehand, I might have been upset about the Seawald trade.
Right.
But because I had your context of knowing about pitchers in the pipeline
Right.
and understanding where the strengths and weaknesses were, that helped me digest that one.
Yeah.
But I would say I wasn't blown away in either direction by the moves they made.
Right. I think if it's going to be a results thing, right?
Yeah.
And right now the results look great. But if calzone, it's an abomination to pizza wherever you lie on that. I actually like calzones.
Me too.
But if canzone turns out to be like a healthier Mitch Haniger type player who took a while to get to the pros and then is really good, I think this is a good thing. I think their trade helped them this year. Yes, they had to give up Seawald, who also would have helped them this year. But because they traded from a position of strength, I think their bullpen's still going to be good enough. And yet, especially with the Kelnick injury, they needed another outfielder. Mm-hmm. And then they were able to get Rojas in there. And in my opinion, he's an obvious upgrade to what Colton Wong was doing this year. So they improved on 2 positions immediately. And they decreased at their bullpen, which they have a strength in.
Yeah.
So I think, yes, you sold one of your good players, but you sold him at probably the highest possible point you could have sold Paul Seawald.
He has one more year of eligibility. So potentially, if he would have, if you're talking about, how could he be worth more, the only way he could be worth more is if he would have played even better next year at the deadline.
But also, he would have had only 1 year of eligibility.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's gonna either way. It's really close.
Yeah.
So this is about as high as you could possibly sell on him. So that's good, and it helps you out in 2 positions. When, let's be honest, hitting's been your biggest problem this year, and it decreases your bullpen, which is one of your best traits. So I kind of like it. The bummer is I love Paul Seawald, and it's going to be suck to. But also, they didn't Kendall Graveman us and send him to a freaking division rival.
Yeah.
They sent him to the other league. So I'm like, yeah, you do you, Paul Seawald. I hope you get 100 saves this year because you're not playing against us.
And it's different too, Seawald's reaction as compared to Graveman's reaction, and how we had to watch that play out in real time, where he was devastated, and they traded him to a team in division that the Mariners were actually playing against, and it was like, here, walk across the ballpark. And Seawald seemed to have a good reaction and understand the business of what was going on.
They communicated this a lot better.
And they also traded him to a contender too. So I know that Graveman also went to a contender, but it was to a rival, which just made you feel stinky.
Yeah.
But Seawald can be like, yeah, it sucks. I love my guys, but I still have a shot with the Diamondbacks.
Agreed. Andrew, what were your big takeaways from the trade deadline?
I generally liked it. I didn't love it. I didn't have huge, strong feelings about it, but like Daniel was saying, I feel like they weren't in a position to sell everything for a short-term player. I think they were probably looking. This is my guess, is that they were looking for guys with more than just a half a year left on their deals, and they didn't find the kind of thing they were looking for. But they're not in a position to sell future prospects with lots of team control for a jump start to get for just this season. So I was glad that they didn't do anything like that. And I kind of expected them to maybe sell somewhat by trading Teoscar.
Yeah.
I
agreed.
really,
But
I
I
think
like
that they
that they
couldn't get.
didn't.
I'm not sure if I like that they didn't. I think they just couldn't find the partner for it. And now that we have him,
Well, they couldn't at least.
he's a streaky player, and he actually hasn't been. He's been disappointing because what we expected, but as a member of our crappy offensive team, he's not actually that crappy. But he does strike out like in an unworldly amount.
Yeah.
But he's the type of guy who can get ridiculously hot. So now that he's still here, I'm like, you know what? He seems like a great clubhouse dude. He's fun. Hopefully he just catches fire in September and October and goes nuts.
Yeah. Here's the problem with calzones. So
They're delicious.
they are delicious, and I love calzones. But like in Parks and Rec, Ben Wyatt he's wanting to make it like, hey, this is a fast food version of pizza you can eat on the go. It's pizza that's in a pocket. You eat it like a sandwich, right? But what's one of the biggest problems with hot, fresh pizza? It burns the roof of your mouth.
It's true.
So if you have a calzone, it's trapping all the hottest ingredients that retain the heat inside of it.
It's true.
So no matter what, you have to break it open and blow in it and
To
let
the
it cool
heat
down.
out.
Yeah.
So I didn't like Ben Wyatt's reason for liking calzones.
yeah.
Because I actually feel like pizza is a pretty portable dish.
Pizza is fast food pizza.
You grab it and you can just chomp
fold
it with
it
one
over.
hand, or you fold
Yeah.
it over.
Or you do a pizza sandwich. You
Pizza
take two
sandwich.
pieces of
Yeah.
pizza and you stack
Exactly.
them together.
And the
you eat it.
calzone, when you break it open, it's like, everything starts to fall out of it.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting at the restaurant
Yeah.
and you want a calzone, I feel like it's a good, you get a pizza when you have multiple people eating it. But say you go to an Italian restaurant and
Yeah.
somebody else doesn't want pizza, but you do, you don't have to order an entire pizza. You can get a calzone.
I've done this at Geppetto's.
Geppetto's has great
But
calzone.
why wouldn't
do.
you
Yeah.
order an entire pizza?
Because you maybe you don't have fridge space and you don't want leftovers.
And you can't eat an entire pizza?
And you can't eat an entire pizza.
Who can't eat an entire
or the-
pizza?
I don't.
Or the price
hypothetical
point.
person that Daniel's talking
Or
about.
the price point,
That's probably
Andrew.
it more.
Either
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
like maybe they're more expensive for I don't know.
Just kidding.
Let's talk about conference realignment. Let's talk about the Pac-12.
Can we take?
My wife says that if your friends don't want pizza, get better friends.
But a calzone is basically
Also-
the same as a pizza.
Also, Francis says calzones were amazing after today shunned. So I'm not sure if it's a
He's
story
mad at
or
us.
not.
He's mad. You know what? Actually, we are going to talk about the Pac-12. We are going to talk about college football conference realignment. And we also have some local sports stuff we need to get to. But first, let's take a quick commercial break. Do you have a legal situation and need someone on your side? Let the law office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz be your advocate. If you've been the victim of medical malpractice, suffered a personal injury, or need representation with real estate law, small business law, or estate planning, let Jeff Damashevitz put his 29 years of experience to work for you. Call Jeff Damashevitz today at 360-612-3991 or visit damashevitzlaw.com. That's DAMASIEWICZLAW.com. Thank you for joining us here on the Scrimmage. I'm Justin Damashevitz, Daniel Hargrove, my co-host here with me, as well as producer Andrew Gross, back from his sailing expedition. He's a real seaman, if you ask me. Andrew, can you tell me anything about what you were doing this past week? Because I feel like it was really exciting and fun and of note, but I also don't know much about what was actually going on.
Yeah, I was working on a mark boat for the Hobie 17 and 18 North American Championships up at Lake Quinault.
And so you said that the team that won this is a massive competition, right? So the team that
there
won this
were
actually came from another continent.
25 boats from all over the country racing.
Not only all over the country. Didn't you say that people were from
Yes.
Australia?
Yes, the winners
Whoa.
the winners were from Australia.
Nice.
Big deal.
It is a big deal. And
Did
not
they
only
throw another shrimp on the bobby?
not only were their competitors from Australia, but wasn't there like an Olympic silver medalist who was racing there too?
Possibly.
Somebody told me that.
I believe. I'm not 100% sure.
I heard Danny Burgers was there.
You know, I feel like Danny
Burgers
Burgers.
showed up one evening. Yeah.
I did. Yeah. I mean,
Daniel,
Danny Burgers did.
Daniel, did you get to see the firefighting planes?
I saw the videos you took of it.
Okay, you didn't.
The night I was there was when the Blue Angels were flying overhead.
No, it was that later that night. You must have left. Was when they started.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were picking up water from the lake to dump on the fire up near Tohola.
You really unbuttoned that shirt there, didn't you?
I felt like, I went to the bathroom and I felt like Danny Burgers would really go with the open button look.
If you're listening on audio only, there's like 4 buttons unbuttoned on Daniel's shirt right now.
1, 2, 3.
I count the top
I'm
one.
gonna
Four.
have to. I'm gonna have
Four.
to change the setting in YouTube.
Yeah.
explicit content. This is a video for adults only. Too much hamburger meat. So let's talk about the Pac-12. Are you guys
hamburger meat? Like Danny
like
Burgers?
Danny Burgers?
Let's not talk about the Pac-12.
Are you guys, as Pac-12
What
fans,
is Pac-12?
as alumni
Yes.
of Washington State University, and Daniel as a lifelong fan of the Oregon State Beavers, how do you two feel seeing the changes that are being made and having to worry/wonder about whether your schools are going to be left behind in all of the realignment?
Well, they all are left behind.
But I mean, like, we're still seeing how the puzzle pieces are going to fit into place. Like, is
Are
the
we?
Pac-12 going to rebuild, or is it going to completely dismantle?
Oh.
Will you have a conference or not?
I assume. I don't know how Andrew feels about this, but I feel like the Pac-12 is gone.
Okay.
I do not think they're going to rebuild, because if you were a team from a smaller conference, why? Why would be like, I want to be a Pac-12 team and be a part of a dumpster fire? No. If
It does seem like the brand is damaged beyond
repair
at this point.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. I think so. Has it become official yet? I'm not sure if it's official yet, but what we do know is USC and UCLA are gone to the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Oregon and UW are gone to the Big Ten. Colorado is gone to the Big 12. Is it official yet that Utah, Arizona, and Arizona State are also gone to the Big 12?
I think they was there news that they applied for a membership or something like that? Like, I feel like enough information has come out that it's no longer speculation.
Right. Well, it's not a speculation that they want to. They're just waiting on acceptance.
I
Right.
haven't seen any speculation that they might not. If
Right.
It means
Yeah.
anything.
Right. So that leaves. So there's 8 teams. So that leaves Cal, Stanford, Washington State, Oregon State. So Cal and Stanford.
You guys didn't read the website that I sent you, did you?
No. When did you send
The
it?
Sent us a
Pac-4,
website?
It was like a day or two ago. The Pac-4.com is
gosh.
someone made a website for the Pac-4.
Oh.
It says the premier tri-state West Coast college football conference. Founded in 1915 in Portland, the Pac-4 features fierce rivalries, proud tradition, and an easy travel schedule. It's an entire webpage that is very difficult.
Wow.
It's very funny and also like,
Very painful.
very painful.
Funny and painful. So Cal and Stanford are rivals. Oregon State and Washington
Have a
State
football
aren't.
schedule.
They put together a football
Yes.
schedule.
Put together a football schedule that's just the same 4 teams playing each other over and over again.
And then, Daniel, it says the 2024 Pac-4 playoffs. Congratulations to the teams that qualified for the 2024 Pac-4 postseason playoff tournament. Pac-4 North Division, Oregon State, Washington State. Pac-4 South Division, California, Stanford. Do you have a TV network? Do you own a TV network, TV station, streaming service, YouTube channel, Twitch channel, or maybe an Instagram, TikTok, X account with, say, 5,000 followers or more and want to broadcast an NCAA conference on your channel? My name is George Klayavkov, and I'd love to chat.
The next section is support us on Patreon. This is really funny. Go to pac-4.com if you want to check this out. That's a really funny website. Thank you, Andrew, for sending it to us, and I
You're
apologize
welcome.
that
Oh,
we
no
both
worries.
ignored it.
I didn't
Oh my
say anything
gosh.
about it, so I didn't really. I just wanted it on the record.
Jeez.
Year after year, the Pac-4 provides some of the athletic action you would expect to see from an athletic conference.
Some of it.
Wow.
So
While our games may not be on TV, you can enjoy them in person at any one of our 4 convenient locations.
or on Patreon.
These exciting images were taken with our new camera.
So what I want to dig into here, and I know we have had this conversation before. Let's assume that things progress towards the super conferences like we've been thinking they're going to, and your teams are left behind and out of it.
Right.
How will that affect your fanhood? Because it's not much is really going to change for like the UW fans and the Oregon fans.
Can I run it back a little bit?
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
So I was going through it. Those are the 4 teams left.
Yeah.
You have to find, in my opinion, at least 6 teams to join the Pac-4 to keep the Pac. I highly doubt they want to try and do the Pac-8 like it was started with in 1915.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have to find at least 6 teams. I don't think that is likely. Honestly, what I think is going to happen, I think Stanford and Cal are going to say, for the most part, who cares? And Stanford might become independent. I have no idea what Cal's going to do. But they really don't care about sports as corporate bodies, right? They don't care about the sports that much. Oregon State and Washington State are the 2 biggest losers in this whole situation.
Yep.
By far, bar none. This is soul-crushing to them. This is brutal. This ticks me off so much as an alum of one and a super fan of the other. This is just sucky. This is the worst.
This couldn't have been written up better to crush your soul.
Exactly.
That sucks.
Exactly.
Think
Same year
about
that
that.
Dame has demanded a trade from the Blazers.
Dude, just stop.
The year after Russell Wilson is out for the Seahawks.
And turns out to be kind of a butt.
Don't worry, Sean Payton said that was all about the coaching.
Yeah. Well, they definitely enabled him. So what I think is going to happen, I think Washington State and Oregon State are going to join the Mountain West.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with that too.
And they will have the biggest rivalry in that conference will be each other. And I think that both Oregon and Washington and Oregon State and Washington State will do their best to schedule a non-conference game against each other every year, but I wouldn't be surprised if it just didn't happen every now and then. And it stinks, and it sucks, and it's the worst, and those games are going to become more lopsided than they already have been, which, by the way, Oregon State, Oregon hasn't been that lopsided over the last few years, and actually, oh, by the way, we just kicked the crap out of them last year by doing nothing but running the ball because they're a bunch of giant duck pansies. And now they're going to be like, oh, we're too good for you. We're in the Big Ten, which is way more than 10 teams. And we're going to be left here going, great, we just beat the snot out of you guys, and you guys get to leave for the better conference? Awesome. By the way, our program's on the way up, and yours is on the way down, but you're going to the bigger conference? Awesome. Thanks, Nike.
It's because
It's a load of crap.
It's because it's not at all about the athletics.
Yeah.
It is
Exactly.
100% about the money that name will add to the television contract.
And the
it's
stupid
that-
thing is Oregon is purely because of Nike.
Yeah.
Eugene, Oregon, give me a freaking break. What a garbage place. That is the worst. It is not a big Seattle, UW. Sure, makes sense. It's the only place in the Pacific Northwest that might have like the fan share type of numbers to try and produce something. Eugene, Oregon? Barf on a biscuit. They are the worst in so many different ways, and it just drives me nuts that this toilet bowl of a team before the last 10 years is somehow like this sought after program, and yet they can't even use that momentum to keep it going and beat their so-called little brothers, which really aren't, which literally just said, yeah, we can't throw, it doesn't matter, you still can't beat us, last year. And that is the progression that they're on, because that program is on the way down and the Beavers are on the way up. And It just drives me nuts. It absolutely drives me nuts. If you want to make the argument with Seattle and UW versus Pullman and Washington State, you can. One of those is obviously in a bigger area. But just blows my mind. Just absolutely blows my mind.
I don't have the actual official statistics to back this up, but when I've heard people talk about this, specifically with the Big Ten gets weird about their academic standard. So there's a couple different factors. One is there's a kind of generally well-regarded ranking of where all these universities rank academically across the country, and then the other one is whether or not they're a research university. I can't remember what it's called, but there's some kind of designation you get if you're a research university. And the Big Ten has these requirements of if schools are going to join our athletic conference, they have to be this smart. And I remember this happening with the ACC when they were talking about, well, this school's smart enough, but that school's not. And this school's smart enough, but that school's not.
Right.
And so I wondered, because I've heard people speculate that perhaps Oregon State and Washington State may not have met whatever the Big Ten thinks their academic standard is. And I don't know if you guys had heard anything about that, but that is one thing I have heard discussed.
Yeah, that's the thing is they let Oregon in.
Is Oregon not a good academic school?
I don't think of them that way.
Because I believe UW...
Let's put it this way. UW has one of the best medical facilities in the country.
Right.
Nobody's getting life-flighted to Eugene. Nobody. Nobody's getting life-flighted to Eugene unless they want hemp put in their bones and die. They're the worst. Sorry.
Why are they putting hemp in their bones?
Because it's Eugene. If you've been to Eugene,
I
you would
have not.
understand.
I have not.
Very into hemp.
Everybody in Eugene has hemp in their bones.
No, they want hemp in their bones.
Oh.
This is funny. I just typed in University of Oregon and it said acceptance rate 93.4%.
Huh, that's pretty high.
That's pretty.
Mountain West. I
University
think,
of
is the most
Washington
likely.
acceptance rate 53.5%. So yeah, Oregon not exactly on the same level academically as UW. Did you hear that, Justin?
Yeah.
There's 40 percentile points different there. So if they're like, oh yeah, Oregon's smart enough to be a part of us, it has nothing to do with the billions of dollars of Nike money. Give me a break.
Yeah. Yes. Daniel's ranting aside, I think we agreed that the Mountain West Conference is the most likely thing. But I just want to
even Oregon State has a lower acceptance rate than Oregon.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Oh my gosh. Sorry.
So I probably differ from Daniel here. I'm maybe not, but I'm just saying.
I'm sorry. I just have to complete the circle here.
Okay.
Washington State has a lower acceptance rate of both Oregon and Oregon State.
Well-known academic powerhouse.
Exactly.
In the Palouse.
Yep.
I don't know enough
face.
about the ins and outs
That
of
said-
college acceptance to know if that's the standard by which we should be measuring it.
It's not the standard, but it definitely is telling.
It's
like
a thing that you can hold over them. for
Yeah.
sure.
Let's put it this way, Justin. I know Washington State alums who paid the money to apply to UW just so they could turn it down because lots of people would be like, oh, went to Washington State, guess you couldn't get into UW. And they would go, actually, no, I declined it.
Shout out to Max Friedman.
Yes, exactly.
Friedman.
And best fly half I ever played with. Was he the only one? Maybe. But so it's not the only thing, but it's up there. Like if you're just letting everybody in, obviously your academic standards aren't that high. And if you have, people who punch faces after losing to Boise State.
Hey. LeGarrette Blount is a national treasure. I couldn't remember his first name.
You got it pretty quick, though.
That was pretty quick. That's fast.
Oh,
sorry.
So Daniel,
yes, go back to the conference.
I totally understand the angst. I hadn't thought about the fact that you're getting a double whammy, so you probably feel just that even more.
Yeah.
For me, it stinks. It really stinks, and it makes me sad. And part of that is it makes me. I've sort of taken a step back, and I'm like, what do I like? WSU is not competing for a national championship.
Right.
They They just aren't. They're competing maybe to get into an expanded playoff someday.
That makes
Like
sense.
I'm talking about in the past. Like in the past,
Yeah.
what we were trying to do was to get into the national conversation, like a top 10.
Right.
That would be amazing.
Right.
What if instead of going to the Mountain West, this isn't I don't think this will happen, but I'm interested in your reaction. Like, what would you think about if they joined the Big Sky Conference? Dropped down into FCS, so they have a real championship. And
not just that fake stuff.
and they have Eastern Washington, the University of Idaho, Idaho State, the University of Montana, Montana State University, all places that we could conceivably drive to
right.
to watch games. I
It
almost would rather do that than to, like, because I'm not watching to see WSU compete with Alabama. I don't.
Right.
It's never going to happen, and I've accepted that long before this.
The only issue I'd have with that, so especially if college athletics continues to move forward as it looks like right now, it seems like it's going to. I mean, it's already a professional game, right? So
Yes.
it seems like if you want to make NCAA Division I professional, which it is, and then, everybody else can play in the FCS and have an actual champion with the playoffs and be actually amateur football, yes. The only thing that bugs me about that, and I would get over it, but the only thing that bugs me about that is that Civil War Apple Cup.
It would be the death of, but honestly, I think that's
You could keep playing it. You could keep playing it, but
it wouldn't be on level footing anymore.
It wouldn't be on level footing anymore.
Yeah.
So when Washington State or Oregon State won, it would be like Appalachian State beating whoever Michigan? Is that who they
Yeah.
beat? That's what
I
it
like
would
that
be
you
like.
said when they beat them
Oh, it would happen.
instead of if.
It would happen. But it would be like that. It would be
so-
like a once in a decade type thing.
I guess part of why I don't really count that when I was thinking about this, that didn't really even occur to me. To me, I feel like those are already dead. Like, this is gonna make it so difficult.
That's
Looking
because
forward,
my team just beat Oregon.
looking forward,
Sorry.
and I'm not saying this to even crush your dreams even more.
Right.
But looking forward,
You mean
if-
they're already
if
dead
WSU and
because they left the
OSU
Big Ten?
They left the Big Ten.
Yes, you're right.
WSU
Okay.
and OSU aren't going to be able to pull in the money that if they keep trying to compete as a as a professional program with the rest of the the NCAA, FBS division, whatever. They're going to get further and further behind, in my opinion. Like, it's not gonna. They're.
Was Julio called out on that?
Yep.
Daniel's
Yeah.
watching baseball.
No, Andrew, that's a good point actually, because if you look down the pipe and you realize that they're going to be on such unlevel footing, would it be worth it to get ahead of the game and go somewhere where you feel like this is going to sting when it first happens because it's a big drop down from where you were, but at the same time you could go to a conference in which you could come in and be one of the big dogs. You could play against Eastern and Portland State every year, and again, and if you go to the Mountain
and the
West, I was
Vandals-
looking at the teams in the Mountain West. There's no road trips in there.
Yeah,
like
I
those are all far enough away that you wouldn't be driving to game. And I'm not a geography expert, as well established
Yeah.
on this show. But at least if you were to go to the Big Sky, you've got Eastern and Portland State you could go to every year.
Also,
There's also
Justin,
2 in Idaho. There's Idaho and Idaho State in
And
there.
You probably don't realize this because you're not a geography guy, but
Yeah.
Idaho State is literally walking distance from WSU. Like, it's like 7 miles away.
Wait,
Perfect.
you said Idaho State?
Is
You
it
meant
Idaho State?
No, you meant Idaho.
U of I.
Yeah, you meant
Well,
U of I.
One of those.
Yeah.
They're both in
Sorry.
Idaho, which is not close to Iowa. And they're both in the same state, which is close enough that you could drive to.
By the way, the Mariners and the Angels are in extra innings, and Julio might have just cost them a run by not sliding into third. And
It's
did
3-2,
Did
though.
he come off the bag, Johanna?
No, I think it was a hit. He was running on hit. They called him out at third.
I know, but he wasn't tagged until after he was like on the base and then maybe coming off of the base.
I'm cooking.
Johanna's cooking. Gosh darn it! My normal source is making delicious food instead of telling me what's happening.
The inning's
Smells good,
over.
though.
It
the
smells
inning-
so good.
The half of the
Is there
inning
onions in
over,
that?
They
and
do have the
Mariners
lead.
Are up 1.
They do have the lead, but Julio would have been. It would have been first and third with 1 out instead of went to like runner on first with 2 outs.
If it matters, Julio already got away with stretching.
It was a force.
There was a runner on first and second. France made it home. Julio got out in third. So Julio tried to stretch it.
There we go.
And he already got away with that once this
Gotcha.
game. So-
Anyway, it would be nice. The level thing would be hard, dropping down a perceived level.
And part of
How
I
far
think
is Montana?
I think is right on the other side of Idaho.
There you
I
go.
think part of why this occurred to me is that to me, that has happened.
I think
we
the
have
other-
dropped. We being WSU, we have dropped. I don't expect, even if we keep playing the Apple Cup, I don't expect it to ever even be on an even footing going forward.
Northern
because
Arizona.
It would definitely be on an evil footing.
because we're not going to be paying our players, especially not
Exactly.
as much as Seattle will be able to afford to.
Yeah, Andrew, I think the only other thing that comes into this is basketball. If we do that,
so I hadn't even
if we
thought
do
about
that, Washington State and Oregon State would no longer be eligible for March Madness, right?
Yeah.
If they're FCS schools,
Yeah.
Wait, really?
that would suck.
That's a non-football. That's not football only. They're both D1.
like you're saying you could
Both-
switch to
so-
you're saying you could switch to the Big Sky for football only and play the rest of the
no.
sports.
I'm
in-
saying it's not Division 2.
FBS
FBS and FCS are both Division 1 football.
Oh, so are there FCS schools that play in like?
I don't know.
Wait, Big Sky? Doesn't Big Sky have teams in the NCAA March
I'll
Madness
read
tournament?
Off, University of Idaho, Idaho State, University of Montana, Montana State, Northern
Yeah.
Arizona, University of Northern Colorado, Portland.
Montana's in the-
State. Portland State has a good basketball team.
Yeah,
don't they?
they're in March Madness. Okay, never mind. Yeah, let's go FCS for football. I'm in. Andrew, I am in.
Okay.
Let's go. Washington State and Oregon State
Let's
become
go be
the
big dogs in
a smaller
small
pond.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm in. Beavers, Cougars, national powerhouses.
Francis says,
And I
that,
say let's do it because there's no better alternative at this point because for some reason Oregon with like the easiest school to get into possible is like, well, let's go to the Big Ten and get boat raced. They're going to get so smoked. Ohio State, Michigan State. Are you kidding me?
So that is the upside. There will be a lot of Schadenfreude as we
Schadenfreude.
see Washington and Oregon get humbled. I do think we will see that.
We're going to enjoy that so much. Oh, it's going to be beautiful.
Francis is predicting that they're going to go to the ACC. He's excited about North Carolina versus WSU or OSU games because no matter what, somebody loses.
That'd be hilarious.
I actually heard last week somebody proposing that before there was mass exodus in the Pac-12 when it was only obvious that a few teams were leaving, that the ACC should jump on the opportunity and say, hey, let's have an ACC Atlantic and Pacific and have two different conferences
What
that are
does
both
ACC
umbrella.
stand for?
Atlantic Coast Conference.
Yeah.
So possibly the Atlantic Coast Division and the PC.
But then you could keep the actual like geographic teams together where they're not travel because like in football, it's not that big a deal that you travel once a week and like how far you go doesn't matter quite as much. Your programs make more money and all that stuff. But in all these other sports, like some of these other sports play multiple times a week. Like your volleyball team, like these colleges are going to pay for their volleyball teams. Like when the teams like USC joining the Big Ten, they're going to play Rutgers, so they're going to pay for their volleyball team twice a year to travel to New York and play Rutgers. Like some of that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but so it makes sense if you're making that much more in media money.
Yeah.
Like you've got so much more money coming in.
But
is
I'm
the
wondering
theory
if
of
there's
that.
going to be a point that some of the smaller sports programs end up getting squeezed out of these, and that's where this thing
I
is going
think
to
that's
start
what's
to bother me.
happening.
That's
Well, it's been happening a
Also-
little bit like at Stanford and stuff,
So-
but like as they go into like full geographic psycho mode, like there's not much further apart from each other than USC and Rutgers
right.
and Maryland and like those northeastern
Yeah.
schools
Yeah.
that now multiple times a year you're going to travel from Southern California up to the Northeast.
That's one of
Right.
the big pluses of the Pac-4 is a really, really easy
The travel schedule's
schedule.
money. We have talked enough about this, not because we have talked enough about this. I'll give Andrew a parting shot when I'm done saying this, but we've got more important things to get to, which is local.
That's fair.
Like
Wiffle ball tournament.
wiffle ball tournament and Grace Harbor Gulls.
Mm-hmm.
But Andrew, parting shot. You sound like you had
Francis
one more
just brought
thing.
this up, and I thought it might be interesting because I didn't know anything about this. And
If
Justin
Francis brought it up, it's
Justin-
probably not
And
interesting.
Justin likes ACC schools. He says the ACC is losing FSU and Miami to the SEC. Is that a true thing, or is that just a thing he's saying?
That is pure speculation at this
Okay.
point.
Okay.
Florida State has the problem that the ACC has is that they signed a horrible TV deal that's like a 20-year deal. So they
20
have
years?
It was a
Were they
the
as
length of it,
mismanaged as the Pac-12?
not as a whole, but in this TV deal, they were negotiating with ESPN, and essentially ESPN was like, okay, you guys want security? We'll give you all the security. And they signed something like a 25-year deal.
Probably
it's so
didn't
long.
account
So-
for inflation.
So now there's something like 13 years left on this deal, and teams are trying to figure out because all of the other TV deals have passed the ACC,
Yeah.
and the ACC teams are getting nothing. They're getting peanuts compared to what SEC and Big Ten and Big 12 teams are getting.
Peanuts.
So they're trying to figure out if they can get out of it. And Florida State would like to get out of it, but it's a grant of rights deal. So what's the penalty they would have to pay? Would it be worth it in the long run? And where would they go?
I still
So-
say that there is one thing that could be done by Congress that could solve this whole problem. Congress just
Admit
needs to
that
say-
aliens are real.
Well, they're working on that.
Oh, yeah.
All Congress needs to do is to say publicly funded universities can't charge for media access rights. And all of a sudden football becomes college football becomes an amateur. That's
I
the
don't
word
like
I'm
it
looking
because
for.
then I can't watch the stuff I want to watch.
No, you will be able to. Every single school will be able to you'll be able to watch it on YouTube. It just won't make much money and the production values will be low. And teams that have a ton of fans, I would expect WSU, especially with the broadcast school, will have a great broadcasts. They'll have student broadcasters with YouTube channels. They'll have fans with YouTube channels.
Yeah, imagine Braden Dorman at Grand Canyon University putting on a broadcast. It's gonna be
I
good.
don't have to imagine
Yeah.
it. I've watched it several times.
It's gonna be good, right?
It is good.
Washington
I
State
listened
has
to-
a ton of people who would do the same thing.
I listened to Braden Dorman do multiple volleyball games during the conference tournament. He did
Now,
a great job.
That will never happen.
Braden's awesome.
I recognize that will never happen, but that is the easy solution that turns college football back into an amateur
Yeah,
sport.
turning it back into amateur, I think, is the big key because
Yeah.
they've taken so many steps away from that.
Yeah.
Right.
that at this point, reverting back would probably be difficult.
Did we already take our? We took our.
We
one
took our
commercial
commercial break.
So I'm going to take a break here. If you need to go to the bathroom, I'm going to take a break here to say if you are a business owner or if you know a business owner who you think would be interested in sponsoring the scrimmage, you should talk to them or give us a call, message on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Shoot, send us an email.
Or if you have any input on marketing for your company.
Yes, because we are looking for the title sponsor of really what has become one of the driving forces of our show. Wouldn't you say, Andrew?
Absolutely. That's honestly why we do what we do.
Johanna let me know the Mariners won. Take that, Angels.
4-game sweep versus the Angels.
Yes, but you are right. The athlete of the week is really the epitome of why we do what we do. We are here to recognize athletes, to give them the props that they deserve for the hard work that they have put in. And this has been shown to gather interest across the county, not only across the county, but also adding in Pacific County. This has an excellent reach. If you would like more numbers on the reach that we get on our Athlete of the Week production, just ask me. I will love to go deep dive into you on the numbers of the social media reach that we get when it comes to our Athlete of the Week posts. We constantly, even in the summer months, Justin, when it's generally a dead period for sports, we get multiple Athlete of the Week nominations. Andrew's laughing at something completely different.
Francis is talking.
It's probably not funny.
It's probably
Francis
not.
said you beat the Ole Pin Wiffle Ball team and they pulled the sponsor. # Bush League. That's not why they put. No, that's not.
I was not going to mention our former sponsor, Andrew, but yes.
Well, it was Francis.
Yes, it was Francis. We need a sponsor for our Athlete of the Week. It just feels weird not saying Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week. But you know what? They couldn't do it. We would love to have a sponsor for this segment. It is a wonderful segment, and it's not just a segment. It is a post that continues to gain lots of attention. So if you would like to sponsor our show
It's an award.
as our Athlete of the Week award
I thought you were going to say
winner,
it's not just a segment. It's a life. It's a lifestyle.
it's a lifestyle.
It's the
Please.
peak of many high school and college athletes' careers.
It is. You know,
Is that too much? Did I say
I like that Daniel just so.
it is.
Daniel was so like,
It is. And I say that just because I am a nominee this week. And it would be
nominated by
nominated, laminated. Shut up, Justin. It would be the peak of my high school career. So I'm just saying.
you
know
would have
somebody-
been
let
a
him know.
nominee.
Did we never
Yeah.
pick Daniel
I'm-
as a historical athlete of the week?
Didn't we do
during
that once
COVID?
when he was on baby leave? I think we did it once.
I
okay.
think you might have, but I'm not sure all the social media posts that I would have actually liked to have seen happen.
I should have been better.
Anyway, I'm going to be reaching out to businesses, just throwing that out there. We've got a great opportunity here, and we would love for you to partner with us in supporting local high school, not just local high school athletic, local youth athletics. That's really what you're doing. I know you're supporting us, but in supporting us, you're supporting youth athletics in Grace Harbor and Pacific County, because we are trying to provide that service of recognizing these kids and what they do, and it only happens because of sponsors from people who care about local youth sports. So anyway, Justin, that was my much prolonged commercial to give you a nice little break to use the facilities.
Thank
Smash
you.
like,
And
and
really,
subscribe.
I didn't actually have to go to the bathroom, but I did give in to peer pressure there. And when Daniel said, if you have to go to the bathroom, I got up and walked out of the room. So I'm going to give a little goals update. And we got a lot of stuff going on that's really cool with the goals this week.
The soccer goals, not
Yeah.
the goals that we toasted in the wiffle ball tournament. Right?
Great, not the team that we eliminated from the wiffle ball tournament, which was especially satisfying. Not because we don't like those guys;
No.
those guys are cool, Kaylin and Kevin and those guys.
Yeah, we
But
like them, James.
They beat
Yeah.
us twice last year, and were the team that eliminated us from the tournament last year.
And they were the defending champs.
They were the defending champs.
We took them out.
We took them out.
Deleted them.
Take that, goals.
Yeah.
So now we're going to talk about different
other goals.
We're going to talk about Grays Harbor Goals FC.
Although I gotta say, their jerseys were fire.
The goals, which goals?
The wiffle ball goals.
Yeah,
Are they
they're pretty
bussing?
They were bussin'.
They're so Gucci.
They were retro Gucci 95 Grace Harbor goals. Chris Grubb fire.
I mean,
Well, if they're
compared
retro
to
95, then are they like tubular? Wait, that's earlier.
compared to their jerseys, ours are just mid.
Sick.
Ours are mid.
Ours were mid, but that was completely on me. Although I was wearing the one that
saw
Hannah
you were
made for
wearing-
me.
I saw you were wearing that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was awesome. I had multiple people. No, I had a couple people. No, I had one person ask me about the quote on the back.
You were totally going to present that like 10 different people asked you about the quote on the
and
back.
then I was like, that's not working. Sorry. Anyway, let me know about what happened with the goals this
So
week.
Grace Harbor Goals, and we did mention this a couple weeks ago. A handful of their
Is
players.
this a roundup? Do we have a roundup? Or?
No,
Okay.
not really. No.
Sorry.
No. It's too much pressure to have the music under it. Have been selected to the WPL Surf Academy team.
By the
which
way, the
is
Mariners
nice.
won. Sorry, just throwing that out there.
Good.
We definitely said that.
Okay.
The Surf Academy team, which is a really big deal. So I want to say congratulations to JB Fabian, Josh Alcala, Michael Garcia, and Ivan Rodriguez. They went to Costa Rica for a week.
Nice.
And while they're there, they're going to train with a pro Costa Rican team and do a bunch of other cool stuff.
That's awesome.
Their boys U15 team also was recently promoted to the WPL Super League 1.
I don't know what
which-
that means, but Super League 1 sounds amazing.
My reaction exactly. It's pretty much the top league in their age group, which is a pretty big deal. It means they'll not only play local, but they'll have a much tougher schedule and they'll be traveling further distances. So those guys have huge experiences, and the things that they're going to be doing coming up with the Surf Academy team is going to be in front of college and pro scouts. So like these guys have really made a step up. This, if you've been following since they were, U14 last year and now U15 this year, this group of boys has been dominant for the Gulls. They've been so good. Michael, Hebron, Yvonne, JB Fabian, their goalie, I think Mauricio is his name, has also been really good.
Yep.
They've had a bunch of guys who really stand out. They've got even contributions during the spring season from all their different players. They've been great. And so they've not only been promoted to the Super League, which is pretty great, but also several of them have an opportunity to further their soccer career, further their football career by playing in front of people who can help them make it to the next level, which is a pretty great thing for these guys. So big congratulations to those guys and best of luck to you in the next step of your journey. Also, we have a couple of updates. Some things happened yesterday for the Gulls U19 teams.
Ooh.
So they had the men's U19 and the women's U19, boys and girls, men's and women's, whatever you want to call them, playing in this tournament that seems pretty cool. So they play running clock, 7-minute halves, I think is what it said. And
Interesting.
it's really quick games on a small field. Games are 15 minutes long with a timer, 7-minute halves. That must mean a 1-minute halftime. So like basically buzzer starts at the beginning. You play like crazy on a small field for 7 minutes. 1-minute break. Play like crazy on a small field for 7 minutes. Which honestly, Daniel, seems like your kind of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd really enjoy that. It's super fast paced.
Rugby sevens
Yeah.
sounds very similar.
Yeah.
Except for in rugby sevens, you also only have 7 players. So it makes a lot more space.
This is it's smaller teams as well. It's
cool.
Six on the field at a time.
Sweet.
So 9-player roster, and it's 6 versus 6 on the field.
Oh, dude, I'm all about
Sounds
this.
exhausting.
Exhausting, but awesome.
Exhausting.
I would play 4 minutes and be exhausted, but that's beside the point. These
By
are
the way,
young, in shape people.
I'm saying
Exhausting.
that like prime Daniel Hargrove would be in on this because yesterday I played wiffle ball and I didn't even really play. I hit in wiffle ball and I'm so sore today I'm gonna die. More on that song later.
Yeah. So the girls team made it all the way to the final and then ended up losing in the final, but it was quite a road for them. So they played to a 1-1 draw in the first game. Little bit of contention there is interesting because of the rules. The opposing coach accused them of stalling at one point because their goalie, Emmy Spencer, got kicked in the head. And so they had like a
Former athlete, current athlete of the week.
She's an athlete of the week.
Multiple time athlete of the week.
Yeah.
So Emmy got kicked in the head, and they took a break to check on her when the game was at 1-1, and the opposing coach accused them of stalling.
The opposing coach sounds like he should be throat punched.
I agree.
Oh, this
I don't
youth
know him.
sports player got kicked in the head. You're stalling. How about don't kick people in the head, you jerkwad?
So they played that team to a 1-1 draw. They won their second game 5-1, and they won their third game 10-0. Which is a pretty big deal, and got back to the final, and then they ended up losing in the final 1-0 to that same team that they had played in the beginning. But this title match that they played is pretty crazy. There was so many injury delays, and while it was supposed to be this running clock game, there were so many injury delays that the referee was like, hey, I don't want the final to be ended on a delay. So every time there was an injury towards the end, they would stop and then restart again, and then stop and then restart again. And they ended up actually having to move to a completely different field to finish the game because they couldn't finish it on the game that they were on.
Jeez.
But great job to the ladies.
Emmy Spencer, by the way, is a beast.
Absolute beast.
She's not going to be faking any injury.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a little concerned for her health just hearing that they had to delay a game a little bit. Like, is she okay?
It sounds like it. She kept playing.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, it doesn't surprise me that she kept playing, but like
She also got an assist.
as a goalie?
It says she played up in the field for a portion of the game and got an assist. But I've got goalie totals here. Bethany Henderson is a name that we've definitely mentioned a lot on this podcast. She's a soccer player.
She's pretty good.
Yeah, she plays for Montesano's varsity team in addition to Goals FC. She led the team with 8 goals throughout the tournament. Aaliyah Weld.
How many games?
4.
Dang.
Aaliyah Weld had 4 goals. Amon Chima had 3. Esmeralda Vega had 1. And in the 3 games, through all of it, they scored 16 goals and only allowed 2.
Gotcha.
So great job by the U19 girls goals team. Now, moving on to the boys' side.
Tell me more about how the girls' goals scored goals.
You love that. You love going G. It's your favorite.
Yeah.
Now,
almost as much as rhyming.
Just like the girls did.
Yes.
The boys' team opened up with a 1-1 tie.
Oh.
And in fact, they were playing on the same pitch.
Ooh.
Or no, I'm sorry. I read that wrong. They were playing the same team that they would play in the final match. So just like the girls did.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
Just like the girls did, they started and finished against the same team.
Right.
So they played 1-1 in the beginning. In the next game, they won 8-0.
Let's go.
The third game, they won 2-0.
Yup.
And Coach Eddie, which, by the way, big shout out to Coach Eddie and also Coach Daniel, because Coach Daniel is the one who's taking the guys to Costa Rica to help facilitate the trip for the U15 boys. But Coach Eddie out there saying he couldn't be prouder of the team for how they played in a 2-0 game, because Daniel, I know you and I will be able to relate with this, at least in some aspect. The team that they beat 2-0 tried every dirty trick in the book. Every little thing you could do, grabbing somebody by the neck, whatever you could take advantage of. There's actually a mention that at one point there was a scissor kick of one of the players.
Whoa.
And despite everything that team was doing in a close match, his guys played mature, composed, professional. They conducted themselves exceptionally well, and they came out with a 2-0 win.
Basically the opposite of how you and I would have reacted.
I didn't say that we would be able to relate to the way they responded to it. I was saying we would be able to relate with accusing people of being dirty.
Yeah. I have room to grow in this aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if he scissor kicked somebody, I might have rock kicked him back.
So then
Don't even get me started about the paper kick.
And also, Mateo Sanchez is on this team.
Whoa.
So
he could have literally, dismembered something. No, that's a bad way to put it. Mateo's a beast. He could have actually hurt someone.
There aren't a lot of footballers out there
who are also footballers.
Who
And
I would want
champion,
on my side in a fight more than Mateo Sanchez.
Who are also state champion wrestlers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, something tells me the baddest dude on the pitch that day was Mateo Sanchez.
I'm going to guess that's probably true.
Yeah.
They ended up going on to the final and earning a 4-0 victory.
Let's go!
To win the championship. So that was a title for the Goals U19 boys. That's a big deal. Here's one fact that's super cool. So that boys U15 team, the goalie we mentioned earlier, his name's Mauricio Avila. The U19 team.
Yeah.
Now, 15 is 4 less than 19.
That's good math.
The U19 team didn't have a goalie. They said, we know a guy that's really good.
He's pretty darn good.
Let's ask the 15-year-old to join our team.
Nice.
Mauricio played goalie.
Are you
for
kidding
the
me?
19U team in this tournament.
Let's go.
In which I believe it said they only allowed 1 goal. Yeah, he allowed 1 goal the entire time. and just did a fantastic job for this championship. They won the title in this tournament with Mauricio in the goal, and a really great job. They had goals coming from Julian Garcia had 5. The aforementioned Mateo Sanchez, the Renaissance man, had 4. Colby Mendoza and Christopher Tobar had 2 apiece, and Giovanni Castillo and Juan Serrano scored 1 goal apiece. Coach Eddie, by the way, just going on and on about how proud he was of these guys for not only the way they played in the tournament, but also just how mature they were.
Yep.
Like you said, the opposite of what you and I would be.
Yes.
That's what these 19 and under youths were able to accomplish in this tournament.
That's awesome.
Great job by these guys. So
Yeah.
congrats to the goals.
That's so cool. I couldn't be more excited about that. And
Real
what
quick
a
before we
cool
move on.
opportunity for Mauricio to be able to be a part of that as well.
Absolutely. Real quick before we move on, just want to mention all the names of the boys and girls from those U19 tournaments. For the boys team, it was Hugo Garcia, Julian Garcia, Mateo Sanchez, Mauricio Avila, Colby Mendoza, Gio Castillo, Juan Serrano, Christopher Tobar, and Isaiah Johnson. And then on the girls' side, you had Bethany Henderson, Dom Trevino, Amon Chima, Marina Marl. That's a name I know. She played for Aberdeen? I've heard that name before.
Yes.
Anyway, Esmeralda Vega, Aaliyah Weld, Diana Guzman, Scotland Lecomte, and Emmy Spencer. So congratulations to all those goals players. You had a fantastic weekend.
Absolutely. That's awesome. I is besides wiffle ball, is that all we've got for local sports?
Yeah.
Did we recapped the Elma All-Star?
We did, yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
So we played against. Did we play against?
We
them?
didn't play against them, but we watched them play quite a bit.
Yes, dude. By the way, so we're shifting gears here to the wiffle ball tournament.
And if you don't know, Young Life, our friend Jason Atwood,
Yeah.
Affiliated with Ole Penn Real Estate, he has, with Young Life, put on a wiffle ball tournament for the last few years. It's been really fun.
Awesome.
So if you are interested in anything we're talking about, look up the Young Life Wiffle Ball Tournament, and you'll be able to find it.
And it just keeps getting better and better.
And bigger.
We had 2 fields this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
16
16 teams,
yeah.
2 fields. We might have to pump it up to 3 fields next year because this event is getting
There's room.
bigger, better, and more fun.
Yeah.
By the way, the rule we keep tweaking. I didn't help tweak the rules, but the rule
I mean, we're
tweaks
involved
this
in
year,
the periphery. But,
Yeah.
we're not the decision makers.
We're kind of advisors on the
Yeah.
outside edge.
Consultants. We should demand a consulting fee.
I like money. It's getting better and better every year.
Agreed. This was the best year.
Less disputes every year and more fun. And this year was by far the best year.
Agreed.
Let's see, who do we got in here specifically? That Elma Little League All-Star team played excellent. It was cool to grab some pictures of them. They were awesome. Hoquiam had an All-Star team in it as well. That were some younger players. These are all like middle school age-ish players who did really well.
Monty also had same age range, kind of that like 7th, 8th grade. They had a team of kids. Charles Shell, Nathan Palmatier, and London Toll was on that team as well.
Is that the team we beat?
Yes.
Okay.
The team that we hit a whole bunch of dingers against.
Yeah. Some adults were a little worried by our celebration enthusiasm against these kids.
Well, most of our team is also kids.
But most of them were also kids, and also those kids were good.
Yeah, they were really good. They just smoked the team. Charles, I mentioned Charles.
Yeah.
He hit 2 home runs in the game before we played them.
One of them hit a home run off of our pitcher that might have been like in the top 5 best pitches Skylar Bovey threw all day.
Yes.
And that kid hit a tank off of it.
Yeah, smoked it.
Yeah, so they were the visiting team, so they hit first, and they hit 2 dingers in the first inning, and we were like, oh, these kids are kids, but they're the real deal. We better actually like play really well. So they were awesome.
And we did.
And the kids, most of the kids played really awesome in this tournament. It was awesome. It was
I would
so
say
much
so
fun.
too. When I looked at the rosters beforehand, I was like, there's a lot of kids in this. But the kids teams came out to play, man.
They were
not intimidated.
Not at all.
In fact, the team that ended up winning the whole thing was
bunch-
mostly incoming freshmen in high school.
Exactly. and they won the whole thing. They
Freaks,
had
though. They're freaks.
2 of them. I mean, come on.
80% of that
I
team's
mean, come
taller
on.
than me.
Yeah, it's
I'm not joking.
2 of those kids. I'm gonna need to see some birth certificates.
I actually walked out. So you're talking about the grubs.
Yes.
We'll get more to the grubs later, but
Yeah.
I will say right now that I marched up to their father while we were playing against them, and I said, I'm going to PED test your children. Because this is not right what's happening here.
Right. It's insane. It was a lot of fun. The whole day was great. I showed up late and was there for 7 hours.
Late-ish.
Late-ish.
Yeah.
I got there in time for our first game. But before the game was opening ceremonies, before the game started was also the home run derby.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. What did you think about the home run derby happening before instead of in the middle this year? I kind of liked it, but that's because I'm lazy and I skipped the whole thing. Whereas if it's in the middle, you're kind of forced to be there during it.
I'll be interested to see what the conversation afterwards is. My impression, although I also left during the home run derby, is that the home run derby went very smoothly.
Okay.
And
Except for one of the grub kids won that as
It
well.
fit in the time frame that it was intended to.
Okay.
Which I think was a big deal.
Yeah.
The home run derby is a big fundraiser for Young Life as well. You
Yeah.
pay $10 to be in it.
$10 for 10 swings, and
And
you can
then-
do it as many times as you want.
Well, you can do it twice. I think they put a cap on it this year.
Oh, they did put a
Yeah.
cap on it this year.
Just
Okay.
because in previous years,
It
the home
takes
run
so
derby
long.
takes twice as long as it's supposed to. I feel like they had it really locked in
Nice.
to making it last as long as it needed to.
Okay.
I left to run some errands and I came back for the last 2 rounds and it was right on track.
Perfect. Okay. I did not do the home run derby.
I didn't either.
I feel like in the future...
What would be the point of me doing a home run derby when Colton Grubb is in the home run derby?
You know, I agree, but also I feel like if I'm going to retain the name
Danny Burgers!
of Danny Burgers, I might have to show up for the home run derby.
You had to get a tire.
That's true.
Colton Grubb doesn't ever have to worry about getting a tire.
Right?
That's what.
He's
That's
not
what
even
this
old
comes
enough
down
to drive.
What does Colton Grubb have to worry about in his life?
Right, he's
Not
not-
getting a tire.
He's not driving to work. He's just busy hitting dingers. Come on. Danny Burgers.
But we'll talk about Colton Grubb more later.
Danny Burgers is over here going to work, getting a new tire, showing up afterwards, and he didn't even get to eat any burgers doing it.
Not
Yeah.
a single burger?
Not one.
We need to get you one.
I should have gotten a burger.
We'll get one on the way home.
We had burgers that night.
Oh,
I made myself a nice double cheese.
there you go.
Yeah.
What kind of cheese?
Oh crud! It was a fancy cheese.
Frozen patties
Manchego?
or hand-formed patties?
It was not hand formed, but it was grass fed
Okay.
patties.
Fresh patties.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was good stuff.
Cheese.
But
The cheese is important.
Was
though.
that Manchego?
it wasn't Manchego. It was a white cheese, and it was one of the fancy like Scotland ones. I can't remember.
Elite
Yeah.
melted cheeses are Havarti and Munster.
Yeah.
No.
It wasn't one of those. It was more focused on like the brand and the aged. Like it was aged, but I can't remember exactly what it is. You know what? My wife's been watching. I'm going to text her to ask, what kind of cheese do I have?
Well, if she's listening as well as watching, then she'll just answer.
Since we're on wiffle ball still, quick shout out. Those Elma Little League All-Stars that we mentioned, those guys, okay, so
Yeah.
they had a team that there was a full team. 3 of them were from that intermediate state champion All-Star team.
One of them short, and he got really upset with
You
me.
did. You did. And that was funny because he literally turned around and put his palms up like, what are you doing here?
Well,
and
I-
what you meant to say was not you're short. It was that you're a child and so you're not as tall as an adult.
Right. And the strike zone.
That's not better.
Well, the strike zone was built for adults.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
was it Tracy pitching? I
don't
can't remember.
remember.
Somebody who was pitching threw a pitch that curved from up to down and hit the top of the strike zone, and it literally was over the kid's head
Okay.
at the plate. And I was like, we need to adjust the strike zone for short people.
No, that's-
and he turned around and went,
Nope, that's not what you
Short
said.
people.
Nope, that's not what you said.
What did I say?
Imagine being
It was worse than that?
imagine being a
Uh-oh.
batter
Yeah.
and saying, "Man, those high pitches are really difficult to deal with, especially when you're short. And you paused for a second because you thought about not saying it, but then you decided to go ahead and say that he was short. And he turned around and he put his palms up and looked at you like, what? But then he immediately turned around and ripped the ball.
That's true.
Drive-bys from the booth.
I gotta say, you accurately portrayed that perfectly. Like there was no like falsifying anything you just said. I paused just like that, and I went short.
Yeah.
And he turned around and looked at me like I just like kicked his cat or something.
That was the second biggest pause before one of us said something
Stupid.
because when I considered a little known fact that I was going to give about Joel DeBlanco, I literally turned to you and said, should I say this? And you said, go for it.
Yes.
And I did. And to this day, I'm not completely sure how okay Joel was with
Yeah,
it.
Andrew, just so you know, after yesterday, we're unsure with how Joel DeBlanco feels
We're not
about
sure
us.
if Joel is a friend of the show anymore.
Yeah.
Oh,
he-
great.
he
Oh,
might-
great. Good job, guys.
Yeah, he might be grumpy with the show now because of all the players there, I think we did more stuff toward maybe Tracy.
Oh, Tracy for sure.
Tracy was number one.
I
1A
said that. I
was
said
Joel
that a little
DeBlanco.
known fact about Tracy DeBlanco was that
Or
Tracy
Tracy
Ford
Ford.
was that he slept on My Little Pony bed sheets.
Yes.
And then a little bit later, I said that a little known fact about Tracy Ford was that he just had the training wheels taken off of his bike last week.
I also said that he eats only sour cream for breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what happened with Joel was that when his little brother Ben was up, I
Yeah.
gave a little known fact about Ben DeBlanco that his favorite movie is, in fact, the recently released Barbie movie.
Yeah.
Ben laughed. It was a good, fun time.
Fun. It was hilarious.
Joel got up, and I said, after consulting with Daniel to make sure it was okay, I said, because Daniel knows Joel better than I do.
And you're going to repeat this.
Yes.
I said, little known fact about Joel DeBlanco. The reason his brother Ben's favorite movie is the Barbie movie is because Joel DeBlanco grew up playing with Barbies on a regular basis.
We also said that we weren't sure if Joel DeBlanco works out, and if he does, he skips leg day.
You said that.
Yeah.
I did not agree. When you said that out loud,
Justin was
I
like-
I immediately was like, I distanced myself from this. I
Yeah.
am not part of this.
We also said that Joel looks like the Russian from the Rocky movies.
Stop saying we. You said that.
I said that too. we were pitching a lot of crap towards Joel.
I said the Barbie thing. That was bad.
We're grateful that Joel is like an awesome dude.
Joel did a thing. Okay, I want your guys' opinion on this because Joel did something towards the end of the game that I want to know if either of you have ever seen before. And it was brilliant.
It was brilliant.
Long day, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's hungry.
We're tired, hungry.
Athletes have been playing. They've been on the field. Joel especially.
Yep.
On the field a ton.
Although his team didn't lose until the championship round, so he was kind of fresh comparatively.
Joel employed a snack strategy
Ooh.
that I thought was amazing.
A snatagery.
He's a strategy.
Snatagy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Joel took a bag of, I couldn't tell if it was chips or crackers or something, but he had some
Right.
kind of bag of snacks.
Okay.
He opened it and put it in his front pocket with the open part up in a way that he could not have to continue reopening it over and over again. It wasn't rolled up. He could just it was like the snacks were in his pocket, but he had a barrier between the snacks and his pocket so his shorts wouldn't get dirty. Have you seen that? He was snacking with his left hand on the field while he was playing defense.
That's impressive work there. That's working.
I'm not sure
that's
if I
working
have ever
smart.
seen that.
You know, that is
haven't.
a much better version of what I saw at a softball tournament many years ago, which was a dude smoking on the field.
Oh, my wife is telling me it was barbecue chips.
Ooh,
She said
barbecue
she
chips.
watched the whole process from beginning to end.
So
Beautiful.
I feel
Much
like,
better than smoking on the field, by the way. Don't
feel
smoke on the field, kids. Get some barbecue chips.
I feel
I'm
like
surprised
that's-
Skylar Bovey didn't come up with that.
I feel like that's the kind of thing Skylar would come up with.
I
Come on,
Good point.
Skylar.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's an extra flex though because I'm not athletic enough that I can play defense without smashing the chips in my pocket. So he's not only is he relaxed enough to eat chips from his pocket, he knows that he's so on top of this defense that he's not gonna have to lay out on those chips.
Otherwise,
100% I would smash the chips.
Can I admit something?
what?
I was feeling so self-conscious about the stuff that we said about Joel that towards the end when I was calling the games, I was overly complimentary of everything that he did.
Okay, I'm glad that you repaired some of our relationship about it, because Justin and I actually had a conversation midway through the day of like, have we been giving Joel too much crap? Like, we still want him to like us, right?
He was making like a routine play in the field, and I was like, brilliant catch by Joel DeBlanco.
Okay.
That's 2 outs in the inning.
Shifting gears a little bit here. Most ridiculous. There was 2 plays I saw throughout the day on defense that stood above the rest. One was a diving catch by Brett Turpin, coming off the pitcher's mound to make a diving catch in foul territory.
Turpins always make diving catches.
Turpins, yes. Turpins equal diving catches. Stinking Colton Grubb.
Oh, we still got to talk about the Grub Boys.
Ugh.
Seems like you have talked about them quite a bit.
No, we haven't yet.
Who hit that? Was that Tice?
I think so.
Tice Peterson smoked a line drive. That not only was smoked, but also I think did the thing where the wiffle ball
But don't smoke on the field, kids.
it rose like 3 feet in the last 6 feet.
It had underspin.
Yeah. And this kid jumped, hovered in midair, and reached up and caught it with his fingertips right in front of the fence.
It was a Michael Jordan moment where like there are people who seem to be able to jump and then not go down.
Yes.
And I will tell you that
I was
that
so
was the
upset.
moment that I knew we were losing. Because I felt pretty strongly we were losing before that.
Knew we had lost.
Yeah, knew we had lost. Thank you. Good clarification.
It was
knew we had
over
lost.
in that
because
instant.
If there was a moment that was going to bring back a little bit of life to our team, because the big poppers with Colton and Caden Grubb, along with Colson Hendrickson and Max Ferguson Peterson Hendrickson and Brody Williamson and then AJ. Which
The random dude named AJ.
Those guys kicked the crap out of us so badly that half our team wanted to forfeit after 2.5 innings.
Yes.
But that was the moment that broke my heart.
It broke all of our hearts.
Yeah. If we had a sliver of hope that we were going to stay in the game, it was over just then.
Skyler was on base, and I don't think he moved from in between first and second for like 10 minutes. It was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
That was dumb. So a little bit of more from that tournament. Personally, our team was awesome. We lost in the first game to the Righteous Rhinos.
Yeah.
Bit of an upset. We did not play well.
That was Ryan Burnett's team.
No, it was
not.
That was Pastor Kai's
It was
team.
Pastor Kai's
Ryan's team was the Cucumbas.
Was Ryan angry?
He was a little upset.
It says Rhino on the
he
front
actually
grill
did
of
say,
his truck.
He did say at one point, how could there be a team called the Rhinos when there's a guy named Rhino and he's not on it?
Yeah.
His cousin was on it, though. Josh Burnett.
Yeah, Josh was on it.
Josh Burnett was on it. Josh had a good day. Josh, Luke Martin, Kai Martin, and I wasn't sure. There was another father-son trio there, or duo. It was Chad and something. Anyway.
I didn't know them.
But they hit dingers.
Yeah.
And they killed us in the first game.
Yeah.
I got to say,
They cheated, though. I told Pastor Kai that they only won because they cheated.
How did they cheat?
I didn't have a specific reason.
Okay.
I just wanted to accuse our pastor of cheating.
Trash can
Good call.
banging.
I gotta say, I was able to play, and I say able to because I felt like a bit of an outsider on our team, Andrew, because it was me.
You made yourself right at home.
I tried. I did my best.
You have a young soul.
It was. Normally
I have an
say,
old soul. You
people
have
say-
a young soul.
People say that old soul. That's usually a compliment.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're telling me there.
You fit in well with the youths.
The youths.
You have Riz.
So we had Peyton Domashevitz, Makani Domashevitz.
No relation.
And we had Tice Peterson, Skylar Bovey, and Camden Taylor.
Yeah.
And
Star-studded lineup,
so
really.
after that first game, we just decided, you know what? We're just going to have fun. Yes, we lost the first game, but that just means we get to play more. And all of a sudden, we just started hammering the ball, and our home run celebrations were next level.
Yeah, they
Like,
Accurate.
we went crazy, and it was one of the most fun days I've ever had playing wiffle ball. And I've played a lot of wiffle ball, but that group of kids was an absolute blast to play with. And it just pains me a little bit to know that they're all from Montesano.
Not painful at all, actually.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun.
I
Had a
have two
blast.
takeaways from the wiffle
best
ball
people live in
tournament that I didn't get to go to. We need to not have it during the Quinault Hobie Regatta.
Well, it wasn't. It was during the North American Hobie
Right.
Regatta.
So I'm hoping it isn't the
Yeah.
exact same weekend next year.
Yeah.
And then we should probably have a Scrimmage Legends team.
That was
We
the
talked
original.
about that on the way out here.
Yeah, that was the original plan this year, but because you were busy sailing,
Yeah.
doing awesome stuff sailing, we're not faulting you for it.
It wasn't as cool as wiffle ball, but okay.
I also, when
It lasted longer. I'll say that for it.
when Justin brought
That's
it
what
up,
she said.
I actually feel bad for my comment, which was, "Oh, but I want to be on the good team."
That is literally. We were driving out here, and I was like, Daniel, it would have been cool if we could have gone with the original plan, which was let my son Peyton, fill out a team full of his friends like we did last year, and then you and Andrew and me could fill it out with, other family members.
Albert, maybe
Yeah.
Johanna if she wants to play,
Yes.
Courtney if she wants to play, McConaughey.
And Daniel looked
Daniel
at me. So here's my.
doesn't think that we would win.
No, I need to
He's
give
off
you,
the team.
I need to give you my impression of exactly what happened. Daniel looked over at me. He looked down at my belly. He looked back at my eyes and said, "I want to be on the good team." And I was like, "You know what, Daniel? You could play with the kids.
Yeah.
You fit in well with the kids."
Yeah,
Like,
he
you
said
did-
I could be the captain of the kids team.
I did say
yeah,
that.
you
Yeah.
could do that.
Yeah. I was trying to get rid of you.
Also,
Glory days on repeat.
hey, all I gotta say is Glory Days started playing, and I hit a 3-run tank.
In a crucial pivotal moment, because
Yes.
we were down by 2
Yeah.
against the Righteous Rhinos in an elimination game.
In our second game against
and
them.
the song Glory Days came on, and I was taking a video, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of funny. We'll see what happens in Daniel's at bat." He hits a 3-run jack, has an awesome celebration the whole time. You can barely hear it. Go to our socials if you want to hear it. The song Glory Days is playing in the background
Yes.
faintly. It was awesome.
And it wasn't just a nuke, but just gotta throw this out there. Like all of my nukes, I knew it as soon as I hit it.
Danny Burgers.
I had some bat flips. This one was more like the nonchalant, like flip with the hand up. Peyton and McConaughey scored on that home run.
Yep.
Everybody met me at home plate because, like I said, our team did home run celebrations better than everybody. Get out of here, St. James
Yeah, we
Gate.
were the champions.
You guys just went. They just went with the shoulder bump every time. We got creative.
Shoulder Blanco and John Wilson.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good day.
It would have been a fun celebration if they literally just had whoever hit the home run running and like just throwing themselves off of Joel.
That would have been fun.
That's true, but okay, so like our friend Jason, for example.
Jason's
like,
real big.
Jason's a tall, big
Yeah,
guy.
that's true.
So like he's
He
gonna
might
look.
actually get
I
hurt,
said
is what you're
earlier,
saying.
Joel makes yoked guys look not yoked, so
Yeah.
it would have been out of place.
Yep.
But Jason's of the size that it could have looked better.
Normal. Right.
John. John.
Sorry, John.
We need to name an athlete of the week.
We do.
Okay, before we do that, I need to commend Skylar Bovey, our pitcher, because
Oh my gosh.
terrible start to the day.
Horrible.
Really struggled to throw a
He
strike.
pulled himself and made me pitch for a half inning. Like
He-
half of a half inning.
He came back in game 2 so locked in. If
Money.
he had not been ready with his stuff and able to throw strikes, there's no chance we would have ended up going on the run that we did,
We would have been
getting into
screwed.
third place. We would have been totally hosed.
Yeah.
And Skylar, I'd say, big time contributor
what
to
were
what we
the
did.
what were the pitching rules?
No rules.
No rules.
Oh, really?
You just had, yeah.
Are guys throwing hard?
Yeah.
I mean,
Nice,
yes, but
that's
so
fun.
Let's put that out here. There's a reason why the Big Poppers won the title.
Okay.
It's because
Caden.
their pitcher, who they didn't pitch the entire day until they had lost their first game and then played us in an
I
elimination.
respect that. That's cool.
They pitched him. The dude was pumping 75-80
Oh.
with movement.
I was more like 85-90.
And
it's hard to throw a wiffle ball straight. So.
it was the equivalent of like 100-mile-an-hour MLB fastball.
110 maybe.
With like an 18-inch movement, and he's
24
left-handed.
probably.
He's left-handed, so it was moving from out to in.
Wow.
Andrew is the most difficult thing I've ever swung at in my life.
Wow.
It was insane.
Just watching it, I felt the same.
It was nuts.
I
So no.
Although
not-
our whole team was just watching it. Because as Peyton said when he came off, is like, I can't make myself swing at that pitch.
Yeah.
you'd have to swing before he released it. Like you would have to start
Andrew?
commit to swinging before he released it, right?
Humble brag. I was literally the only person on our team to get a hit off of him that game.
That's what I would expect.
And I swung. I told myself, no matter what, I'm swinging.
Yeah.
And I happened to barely hit one down the first baseline.
Like as far down the line as is possible.
Yeah.
Ground rule double. Good
Then-
hit though. Good hit.
The next time I was up, I told myself I have to swing, and I swung, and the ball almost hit me in the face. But I still swung because I didn't have a choice.
But if it had hit you in the face, you would have gone on base.
That's true, but it barely missed
We
me.
did
need to
discuss
lean in a
that
little bit
actually
more.
as a possibility for Colton Grubb, who we'll get into next year.
Yeah.
Because Colton just kept hitting home runs. He had 3 home runs off of us. And we realized there's a loophole in the rules because there's
Yep.
no walks in this tournament.
Yep.
If you get to 4 balls, you
None
do
at
team
all.
toss.
Okay.
You get your own teammate to toss you a pitch.
Yeah.
That way there's no walks.
Huge,
but
huge strategy, by the way.
the loophole
Yeah.
is if you hit the person in the face with a pitch, they get first base automatically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I straight up told Colton,
Yeah, we're gonna hit you in the
if
face.
we play you, we're going to hit you in the face. Because it's the only way to give you a free base.
Yes. Yep.
So they don't allow intentional walks.
No.
No.
So that
you have
might
to hit him in the
be-
face.
That might be tweak to consider at least.
I don't think it
No.
should be because
I thought it was perfect the way it was.
because
Okay.
you don't want intentional walks. Like what we were telling, like when we were playing against Ryan Burnett and Brett Turpin, we told our pitcher, "Hey, make him hit the home run off of you."
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
good chance they will, but at least it's off of you.
Yeah.
And so, yes, did they hit home runs? Sure, but it was more fun than an intentional
That's
walk.
fair. That's fair.
Justin, do we really have a competition for athlete of the week this
I
week?
felt like it was good to put some other stuff in there because, like, legitimately, what the Gulls did was really cool. So Mauricio playing up 4 years
Yeah.
and helping
4
his team.
years.
4 years.
What percentage of his life is that?
and helping. It's a good question.
quarter
If
of it.
we knew math,
That's
would
a-
be better.
that's
at it.
20
Over a
25
quarter of. Yeah.
More than 25% of his life. These guys are 25%
No,
older than him.
That's not
Yep.
right.
I'm rolling with Daniel's. This isn't a math
He's 15
podcast.
years old.
This is not a math
What's
podcast.
4 times 4? 16. It's over a quarter of his life.
No, that's not right.
It's
Listen, I'm the geography expert. So I thought that for Mauricio, really big deal. Bethany Henderson scoring 8 goals
that's intense.
for a goals team that got into the final, and then Emmy Spencer getting kicked in the face and then only allowing 2 goals throughout the whole thing.
Yep.
Getting her team to the final.
Yeah.
Danny Burgers,
I hit lots of dingers.
lots of dingers,
And before I think
came in relief in pitching a couple of times.
did not go well. That's another thing I need to work on is pride, because I saw Caden Grubb throwing really hard.
You did not think I could do that.
Yes, I did.
No,
Justin.
you did.
Justin, I was like, I can throw really hard. I threw 3 or 4 really hard warm-up pitches. My arm still hurts because of it.
Oh no.
And Caden's dad, Chris, goes, "That's not how I remember you pitching at all." And I went, "Thanks, Chris. You're
the
absolutely
best.
right." And my arm still hurts.
I will say that the leading nominee.
I did hit some. You know what? I gotta say, I think that there was only like 3 home runs hit farther than mine. The dude
And they
in
were
our-
all by Colton.
No, 2 of them.
Colton hit some tanks.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe
I'm
3
getting
people.
emotional, not gonna lie.
So Josh Lavoie, in our game that we beat him,
Yeah.
cleared
Which
the
team was
tent.
that?
Brett
the-
Turpin.
Oh,
remember
yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
cleared our
Yes,
tent.
that ball went so far. That was in the last inning, right?
Yeah, that was a
that ball
nuke.
went really far.
Colton Grubb hit one. That was 1 or 2 that was over mine.
Maybe 5.
And I think Joel DeBlanco hit one that still hasn't landed yet.
Yeah. Actually, at one point, this was
Literally
a
in orbit.
little funny side note. At one point, Colton hit a really far home run.
Yeah.
And somebody asked Joel, and I happened to be standing there.
Yeah.
Hey, well, how far was the farthest home run you hit? And he said, "Oh, mine hasn't landed yet." It was so funny, and he came up with it so quick. I'm continuing to be over complimentary of Joel.
Yes, that was awesome. So, Skylar Bovey, I'm also going to throw onto this list.
yeah.
Because in that game where we beat Ryan Burnett, where we beat the Cucumbas, who had Ryan Burnett, Brett Turpin, and Blake Turpin, Josh Lavoie, and then Blake's son Hunter, who's 9. But he's a good athlete. I think Skylar Bovey had 4 home runs.
Yeah, that sounds right. It was either 3 or 4, but
And
it
he
was
pitched-
basically every time he came
And
up.
he struck out Ryan Burnett on one of the sickest rise balls.
Yeah.
So Skylar also has
Ryan
to be
Burnett,
in there.
probably the best softball player I've ever played with, who also is really great at baseball.
Yeah, and wiffle ball turns out.
Yeah.
Shocker.
I mean, he's the second best shortstop that I've ever played with.
Who's the best? Ariel?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. His sister. So Colton and Caden Grubb, and I'm putting them as co-athletes of the week nominees because
They were co-MVPs.
they ended up being co-MVPs because Colton, see, this is the thing that really infuriates me about Colton and Caden Grubb.
Me too.
They are
upset.
2 of the nicest young teen boys you will ever meet.
Yep.
I spent so much time talking to Colton on Saturday, and he's amazing. He's
Yep.
such a great kid. Caden's a great kid. After the tournament was over, the tournament director came up to Colton and presented him with the MVP shirt,
Yep.
and he said, "You know what? I'm honored, but I think we wouldn't have gotten here if it wasn't for my brother." And he handed the MVP award, and I have a picture of this. He handed the MVP award to his brother Caden. So they were technically, I guess, they're co-MVPs. Maybe Caden's the MVP. I don't know. It's a gray area. But they can't be either one of them athlete of the week on their own.
Yeah. Colton won the home run derby.
Yeah.
And then proceeded to win the home run derby throughout the day
during the games.
just dropping nukes constantly. He also had the best catch of the day with that hover boot catch.
Oh.
And then Caden,
That's
Andrew,
painful to think about.
I crap you not. It was the most ridiculous. Like, remember when Jimmy was pitching for us the first year of this tournament, where he was throwing so hard, he basically threw a perfect game every time. Caden was throwing that hard, but with movement. It was
infuriating.
Yes, our whole team literally was just like, "Well, this is dumb. We don't want to play anymore." It was the most infuriating thing we've ever seen. So and he's like 6'4", and he's a freshman. Your dad after the day was like,
I don't think
"Oh,
he's
so
6'4".
He seemed like he was 7 feet
I think he's
tall.
like 6 foot.
He was taller than me.
6'1".
It's a very tall mound.
He's
Well, you've
easily taller
shrunk
than
in your old age.
Have I shrunk?
Actually, don't know. Caden's very tall.
Colton and Caden are Oli Penn. Not Oli Penn. Sponsor us.
I feel better now.
Sponsor us. Caden and Colton are
The Scrimmage athletes of the week.
the Scrimmage athletes of the week. Please sponsor us.
I just have to say, I wish that Colton and Caden were jerks.
It'd be easier
Because
to beat
it'd
them.
be easier after that tournament was over to be like, "Oh, those guys, they ruined our day."
What
You
punks.
can't do it.
Nope.
They're such nice kids.
Yep. It was frustrating.
Yeah.
It's
It's because their parents are very nice people also.
The biggest reason I wanted to beat them was because I wanted to play St. James Gate.
Yeah.
I wanted to play against the DeBlancos
'Cause they were the
and
only people-
Tracy and Jason and John Wilson, because that would have been knockout, drag out, hilarious, just ridiculousness. But instead, we had to get boat raced by a bunch of freshmen and some random college kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
But Caden
A
and
little
Colton, I'm just throwing this out there. This is their first of many their first of many athlete of the week. We're gonna see their names a lot, and it's gonna be to the point where we're gonna have to not give them awards because they've won it too many times, and it's gonna start this year. Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. So, we good?
Good.
So for my co-host Justin, My Little Pony Damashevitz.
And my co-host, Daniel Danny Burgers Hargrove.
Danny Baggers.
And I'm going to cut you off because I have a good name for our trusty producer. Andrew Schadenfreude Gross.
You know what I wrote down on here?
What?
Schadenfreude.
We got him. We got him. Thank you for listening to The Scrimmage.